All right, guys, welcome in. welcome in. Welcome in. I have some homework for the internet sleuths out there. I got to know where Tyler Robinson was on the evening of September 8th. That is your homework. Where was Tyler Robinson on the evening of September 8th? That will make more sense to you as the show moves on. Guys, we've got a lot to discuss today. We have a lot to discuss today. First, massive drop by the principal of the video of Terrell Farnsworth being Shady Terrell. Shady Terrell. Not content with just, he's dead. No, not content with Hollywood C-level movie acting. No. He is now Shady Terrell shoving stuff in his pants. Shoving stuff in his pants while he should be worried about his friend and slain leader, Charlie Kirk. Guys, we have a trove of newly discovered search warrants, and we're going to roll through some of them tonight. And as we roll through some of those, we're going to learn some facts about the case we didn't know, things that did not come up during the preliminary hearing, things that did not come up during the discussions. None of the Fed sloppers have tried to rub these things in our face. I'm not sure anyone even knew these things existed. Weird things, frankly. What kind of items was in one of Tyler Robinson's backpack, for example? Well, we'll find out. What kind of weapon was Tyler Robinson carrying when he went home? Well, we'll find that out as well. There's a lot in these search warrants. So if you are in the mood for an exciting show, you'll only be required to use the very front edge of your seat. The rest of the seat will get the night off. The rest of the seat's going to get the night off. The back, you won't need it. You won't need it because we've got a lot to cover today. I will also tell you, I feel terrible. I don't know if you see how pale I am. I'm sick. I don't know if I'm sick or I'm just like coming down. We moved my son to college yesterday. Mrs. Coleman and I shared a few tears on the way home. It was an emotional event. It was an emotional moment. And, I'm just so proud of him. I'm so proud of him. I really genuinely am. He's a wonderful, brilliant child. And it was just a bittersweet moment having to drive away and watch him drive away because we met in a Lowe's parking lot. Can't park on campus, So we had to meet at a Lowe's parking lot, and he went one way and we went the other, and it was a sad moment. It was a sad moment. And then I slept poorly because of it, and I woke up with a headache, and it has not gone away all day, no matter what I've done. And now I'm starting to feel that, like, full-body flu-like symptom where your eyes feel hot and your shoulders are cold and your skin feels pale and flush. So bear with me. Bear with me. I say all that to say there's a possibility that I will skim more quickly through the Super Chats than normal. Depends on how I feel at the end of the night. Let's just get through the show, see how we feel, and then we'll rock and roll at that point and see how we're going to go. I am going to skip the opening tonight. I had an opening ready to go. I'll just run that tomorrow. The reason being, I want to spend a considerable amount of time on this content. And because I think what we're going to cover tonight is pretty explosive, frankly, if I do say so myself. So I just want to start a kind of rolling. I almost forgot to tell you. I learned something last night. Remember how I reported the 1-year party that TPUSA was going to throw at Utah Valley University on September 10th was off? It had been canceled. BYU had reported in their student paper, or one of their student papers, that the party was canceled. UVU had pulled the plug. I learned last night it may, in fact, be back on. So we have, because of that, made our decoy shirts available for purchase at realbaronpodcast.com. It is a beautiful shirt, an absolutely beautiful shirt designed by Nurse Casey. I'll pull up a picture of it and let you see it. It is probably one of my favorite pieces of merch we've ever come up with. It is right here, and it is spectacular. It is real, and it is spectacular. Who does not want a maroon decoy shirt? Currently at $17. Our merchant is trying to force us to raise the prices. Thus far, we have been successful in resisting. That will not probably last forever. At some point, they're going to pull the plug on us if we don't raise our prices. I think they want us to go to like $21 or something. So if you want it for $17, now's your chance. I have no idea when that forced raise is going to come through, but we're doing our best to keep everything affordable as they'll allow us to do it. So there it is, the decoy shirt, maroon. It's there. It's there. They've been moving like hotcakes all day. All right. I want to jump into some of this stuff because it is somewhat explosive. Do you guys remember what Tyler Robinson was wearing allegedly while he was at UVU, and then when he was later at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. He was wearing gray Converse sneakers, and he was wearing a Hurley hat, a blue Hurley hat. If you don't remember, I will refresh your recollection now. We've got a clip of this here. This is going to become important as we look at the search warrants here in just a moment. Here is the alleged Tyler Robinson. We say alleged because for some reason they have hours of footage of him at the sheriff's office, and we only get to see his back for about 6 seconds.
Davis, who are we seeing here?
That's Tyler Robinson.
And although we are watching it on video, what is he wearing at this time?
He's working a dark colored baseball cap with that's like I believe it's like maybe the Hurley symbol on it, like a white symbol on front. It's a burgundy short sleeve shirt with no.
Sir, it's maroon. No one calls that burgundy. Come on. How long have you been following this case?
Graphics. It's blue jeans and gray and white tennis shoes. I believe they're Converse style tennis shoes.
So there you have it. That's what he was wearing when he rolled into the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Well, why is that important? Well, because we know for a fact that the clothing he was wearing was taken from him. We know the clothing was taken from him when he was in police custody. Again, don't believe me. I don't have to be the one to tell you everything. You can hear from Christopher Bagley himself. Officer Bagboy, take it away.
But that was the only thing that was taken from at that time.
I started a second or two late, but trust me, they took his clothes. They took his clothes and his cell phone. So we have a search warrant. We now have a search warrant of Tyler Robinson's apartment. And in it, you will find that we have some new information. Check out what was taken from Tyler Robinson's apartment. So we know he had his gray Converse sneaks with him. We know he had his Hurley ball cap with him. Obviously, one of his favorite maroon shirts. So what all did they gather from this apartment? Well, let's take a sneak peek here. On Thursday, September 11, state and federal investigators obtained information, yada, yada, detailing an address associated with Tyler Robinson. That's the apartment. We've redacted the address there in St. George. Listed owned by Jerry Twiggs, the father or grandfather, I guess, maybe, of Lance Twiggs. Oh, parent of Lance Twiggs, who's the boyfriend of Tyler Robinson. Robinson's mother confirmed in an interview her son lived in that apartment. Additional information obtained from the interview conducted by FBI Special Agent Lang with Lance Twiggs indicated Robinson left a handwritten letter underneath a keyboard at the River Road residence for Lance. According to the FBI Special Agent, Lance told him the letter said something to the effect he had shot Charlie Kirk. He had a shot at Charlie Kirk and he was going to take it. In addition, he claimed he does not know where the letter is currently. That's interesting. That's interesting. It's also believed Tyler Robinson wrote to Lance may still be inside the residence. Well, here's we get a copy of everything they took from the house. We've got a Hurley hat. So there's a backup Hurley hat. Have you ever seen somebody with so many Hurley hats in your entire life? Gray Converse shoes with white laces. Now, we know Tyler had a pair of gray Converse shoes with white laces on, allegedly. Those were taken from him at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. They were not put back in his room before the search warrant was executed. We know Lance had a pair of gray Converse shoes with gray laces. That is not those. These are gray Converse shoes with white laces. And then you got a webcam, all this other stuff here. And so now after the preliminary hearing, we have the idea that there were actually 3 pairs of gray Converse shoes in the apartment. 2 apparently with white laces, only 1 with gray laces. Well, why is that important? Because all this time we've believed that it couldn't possibly be Lance Twiggs' shoes all over campus that day because Lance Twiggs' shoes had gray laces. But now we learn there was actually a spare pair. There was actually an extra pair of gray Converse shoes with white laces at the residence. How convenient. Side note, how excited are they to own gray Converse shoes? I mean, it's ridiculous how many pairs of gray Converse shoes they owned. I mean, I own a pair of Converse Chuck Taylors. But he had 2 blue Hurley hats and 2 pair of gray Converse shoes with white laces. Who has that? Branch out a little bit, guy. Live around a little bit. But think about it. You've got 2 pairs of gray Converse shoes with white laces. And so therefore, if we see a gentleman walking around on campus with gray Converse shoes and white laces, we cannot rule out that it wasn't someone else that had access to a pair of gray Converse shoes with white laces. Huh. Interesting. That's an old warrant. That's just new information that we've gleaned after the preliminary hearing. Now, we now have what I think is a pretty wild search warrant. We have the search warrant of Tyler Robinson's mom's house and his dad's house. We've redacted the addresses. No private information here. But I want to roll through this because it actually provides some pretty wild detail about what was going on. Here's the affidavit for the search warrant. On the premises known as blank, that's the address, further described as the home is a single-family home located on whatever street. The home faces south, has gray stucco siding, 3-car garage, light gray doors, yada, yada. That's just a description of the house. All right. There is now certain property or evidence described as a Smith & Wesson M&P pistol and holster. Well, did we know we were looking for a Smith & Wesson M&P pistol and holster this whole time? No, I did not. As well as anything related to the rifle used in the shooting, firearm components used to alter the rifle barrel, or other components, ammunition, specifically .30-06 ammunition relevant to that involved in the shooting, gunsmithing or engraving tools related to the investigation. Then they got photographs of the home that they were looking for, trace evidence that they were looking for, any other clothing or biologic evidence, specific clothing items, a blue-colored hat, yet another blue-colored hat. So this is the things they're looking for. Sunglasses, a long-sleeve black shirt with a picture of American flag and an eagle printed on the shirt, dark-colored jeans, white gray shoes with white-colored laces. Could there be a 4th pair at the parents' house? We'll find out at the bottom. Shoes appear to be consistent with Chuck Taylor Converse-style shoes. So I want to go over something here real quick. Let me pull this down. I've got to point this out because it's a little unusual in my opinion. Nearly all of these new search warrants we've discovered that we're going to look at tonight came from the same officer. And this isn't just any old patrol officer. This is an officer with a deep history of tracking perverts. Now, there's going to be more than one pervert story tonight. One of the stories is this officer. I'm not claiming he's a pervert. I don't know if he's a pervert. I have no evidence he's a pervert, but how do you know someone's a pervert till you find out? But he tracks perverts. He works in the sensual crimes departments of the various law enforcement agencies. That's how he was brought up. That's his training. And if you go over the training section, his experience section here, you'll find out there's an unusual emphasis on this. Currently assigned to the Special Victims Unit for Utah County Sheriff's Office. During his first 3 years, he was assigned to the Law Enforcement Patrol Unit. He's investigated a number of crimes against young people, as well as undercover work within the Special Victims Unit, part of the FBI Little People Exploitation Task Force. Trained and certified as a drug recognition expert. So he goes through here and he just talks about I worked crimes against young people with an emphasis on internet pervert crimes. Task force officer with the FBI Young People Pervert Task Force. I mean, his whole thing is about this. SVU, perverts, little people, perverts, more pervert stuff. It's just a really weird guy to assign to this case where they're going and picking up computers and phones and all this other kind of stuff. I've long wondered if there's a pervert angle to this. I've long wondered that. But I can't say that because they assigned a pervert expert that we know there's a pervert angle. I can't say that. Then he goes over the fact that Charlie Kirk was at UVU. He reviewed the security camera footage. He sees the Chuck Taylor Converse-style shoes with gray shoes with white-colored laces. Oh, there are those again. He talks about him coming through the stairwell. He talks about him walking over the Losee Center. This is all pretty normal stuff we've all heard before. The engravings on the gun casing, the shell casings, the alleged shoe impression, DNA that should have been laid down, but for whatever reason wasn't able to be tracked. Now we get to some new information. I'm giving it to you in toto. Not trying to shade this case one way or the other. On 9/11/2025, that's the day after Charlie Kirk went down, Sheriff Smith with the Utah County Sheriff's Office received a phone call at approximately 20:04 hours from Sheriff Brooksby. According to Sheriff Brooksby, he had received a call from a former deputy who had previously been employed with a sheriff's office. The former deputy, identified as Mike Mitchell, explained that Mike Mitchell, he had received a phone call from the father of Tyler Robinson. Well, that's a familiar tale. We've heard that. Mitchell explained he'd received the phone call from the... already read that. Mike Mitchell explained that Tyler Robinson confessed to his father that he was the shooter at Utah Valley University. Well, then why wasn't Mike Mitchell on the stand at the preliminary hearing? Why wasn't the father on the stand at the preliminary hearing? I've wavered on this Mike Mitchell cat. Sometimes I think he's a good guy. Sometimes I think he's a bad guy. When I read that, I thought, sounds like a bad guy. Because nowhere else do we get this story. You know, this has been percolating behind this investigation for the last year or so that Tyler confessed to his parents. But when you read the probable cause affidavit, when you read the charging documents, the affidavit in support of the charging document, we don't get that. We hear inferred, might have been, involved. We don't hear he told them he shot them. We've asked this question, where did this come from? Someone changed the story. The parents behind the scenes deny it happened. And so we've asked time and time again, who changed the story? Was it the bishop? You know, the parents called the bishop. Was it Mike Mitchell, the retired sheriff's deputy? The parents called Mike Mitchell, the retired sheriff's deputy. Was it the parents? I think we just got our answer. It sounds like it was Mike Mitchell who changed the story from Tyler told his parents he might be involved to Tyler confessed. Tyler confessed. And the reason I don't believe the story is because if Tyler had confessed to his parents, you would have heard from them. I'm confident you would have heard from them. Mike Mitchell, there, we just read that. Tyler Robinson's parents worked with law enforcement to arrange a way for Tyler Robinson to turn himself in without a confrontation with law enforcement. Mitchell coordinated with law enforcement to have Tyler Robinson meet with law enforcement at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Tyler Robinson arrived at the Washington County Sheriff's Office accompanied by his parents at approximately 26 hours. We've long disputed that on this program, but I'm just accepting it for the purpose of this. I'm not going to argue that point tonight. Tyler Robinson was not wearing clothing consistent with the clothing observed on surveillance cameras during and around the time of the incident at UVU. That's a little inconsistent because in the probable cause affidavit, they said he was, in fact, wearing clothing consistent with what was observed on surveillance camera. Here they're saying he's not. But they go on to tell us what he was wearing. Tyler Robinson arrived at the Washington County Sheriff's Office wearing a dark-colored hat, a maroon-colored T-shirt, maroon officer, not burgundy, maroon, jeans, and white-gray-colored Converse-style shoes. No word on the color of the laces. Tyler Robinson's mother relayed to law enforcement that Robinson had expressed having suicidal ideations. Sergeant Elsholtz with the Utah State Bureau of Investigation provided me with a photograph of Tyler Robinson's Utah driver license at approximately 0100 hours the next morning, 9/12, Friday morning. Special Agent Lang conducted an interview with the boyfriend of Tyler Robinson. Boyfriend was identified as Twiggs. During the interview, Lance showed investigators text messages between Tyler Robinson and himself. Guess what? We're going to get new information. We're going to get even more text messages than we already had. A little context. Stay tuned. The following is some of the content of those messages. First message, I'm still okay, my love. I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Second message, Tyler, shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I'd hope to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. Third message from Lance, you weren't the one who did it, right? Fourth message, I am. I'm sorry. Fifth message, Lance, I thought they caught the person. Sixth message, Tyler, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude. Interrogated someone in similar clothing. Seventh message, Tyler, I'd planned to grab my rifle from the drop point shortly after. Now, most of this we've already seen. Side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's a vehicle lingering. Now we get into new stuff. And this is pretty fascinating new stuff. Further information between the messages showed that Robinson had an old room at his parents' house. The following are messages from Lance to Robinson. First message, Lance, what do I do with all your stuff? It's a little weird that this guy's confessing to murder. And the first thing you're doing is, how do I get all your stuff out of my house? I got to rent this room out. I mean, come on. We're going on 36 hours after the big event. What are we waiting on? How do I get this stuff out? What do I do with it? You want me to just throw it in the dumpster? Sounds like a real loving boyfriend. Not worried about his safety and security, not worried about his criminal liability, but very worried about how to get rid of all his stuff out of his house. Second message, leave the room alone. The feds will search it top to bottom for certain, then work with my family to sort it out, where that goes and such. How do I contact them? Fourth message, Tyler, my mom's number is, we've redacted. They live at, we've redacted. Keep my mom out of my wooden box for her sake. Ladies and gentlemen, he's got a wooden box. And we've got to know what's in the wooden box. We can imagine what's in the wooden box. I imagine what's in the wooden box. You are probably imagining something that's in the wooden box. You'll blush a little bit if you imagine it too hard. I can't imagine it's like a Bible and like a Mary statue. No, keep my mom out of there. There's some holy candles in there. I was holding a vigil last night. No, I don't think that's what's in the wooden box, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying. Sounds like a pervert to me. Might not be. No evidence. They didn't describe what was in the wooden box, thankfully. Although, if we're being honest, I'm a little curious. You are too. Stop it. Don't make fun of me. Fifth and sixth message, Lance, I will try. Is there any way you don't go to prison? Seventh message, Tyler, I highly doubt it. I will update you as much as I can. If you need a place to stay, I'm sure my family will let you have my old room. Just stay out of the wooden box. Actually, he probably doesn't care if Lance gets in the wooden box. Now, this is where it gets really fun. If in fact it can get more fun than the mysterious mystery wooden box. It was found that Robinson's parents' address located at blank. The above referenced messages show Robinson had a room at his parents' and made reference to a wooden box with some of Robinson's belongings that may be there. Through my training and experience, it's common for young adults to keep stored belongings at their parents' homes. Yeah, keep in mind he's a pervert cop. That's like his specialty. He's probably seen a lot of wooden boxes. He's probably opened a lot of wooden boxes and gone, whoa, what's it? What is that? Did not expect to see that in the wooden box. But that's, that's for another day. It's for another day. Another day. Special Agent Cox, probably the worst name you could put when you're talking about the wooden box, interviewed Robinson's father, Matthew Robinson, regarding his involvement in the case. Matthew reported to Robinson that Robinson had traveled to Matthew's home where he had confronted Robinson. In other words, Matthew, the father, confronted Tyler, the son. Robinson, the son, had admitted to his parents he had a pistol concealed on his person, but was not willing to give it to Matthew. Matthew told agents that when Robinson was giving his mother a hug, he observed the concealed firearm and quickly pulled it away from Robinson's person. No word on whether or not Robinson's father had attended Victor Marx's seminar on how to disarm somebody. That's on YouTube if you don't believe me. The firearm is reported by Matthew to be a Smith & Wesson M&P .45 caliber handgun in a concealed carry holster. Matthew left the firearm on a chair in his gunroom. which was described as a room where multiple gun safes and firearm materials were stored. An armory. Did anyone know the Robinson home had an armory in it? I was not aware. It's the first time hearing of it. A gun room? A whole room dedicated to guns? All right, we continue. Sorry, I had to pull the screen down to share my dismay. Matthew also reported that Robinson had moved throughout the home freely, but he was trying to make sure Robinson wasn't getting anything out of the gun room. He had gone into the bathroom, main living area, and kitchen, and also made mention of his old bedroom that was now converted to an exercise room. Matthew reported that Robinson had... How big is this house? They got a gun room, an exercise room? Was this a mansion? Matthew reported that Robinson had belongings in the home that he would periodically retrieve from the home. Closet in the exercise room had clothing and other personal items belonging to Robinson. Matthew reported to agents that the rifle used in the shooting was a gift to Robinson from his grandpa that Matthew was storing for him in his home until January of 2025. Matthew gave the rifle to Robinson in January and told agents he believed he had also given him some .30-06 ammunition for it. Investigators reported seeing ammunition throughout the area of the gun room. Investigators also observed ammo reloading equipment. I know, based on my training and experience, that a safe time to engrave on a bullet casing would be when there is no gunpowder or bullet in the casing. This could be done when reloading ammo. Matthew also reported Robinson's free to come over to the home and comes over weekly to visit and for dinners. Now, I think we now know, or we believe, that the ammunition used was not in fact reloaded ammo, but it was just kind of store-bought .30-06 ammo. Maybe the ammo Matthew Robinson had given his son Tyler. I don't know where it came from. I don't know that anybody's reported where it came from. But I don't think it's alleged to be reloading equipment, but reloading ammunition, but I don't fault the officer for thinking that. You know, it's kind of weird to etch sayings on a live round of ammunition. All right, last little piece here from the new information we've gleaned from this search warrant. This is wild, by the way. While executing a search warrant at Robinson's residence at Redacted, while searching the kitchen area, a blue backpack was located. We will come back to this blue backpack. You remember he had on a blue backpack at UVU when he was wearing the maroon getup. The alleged Tyler Robinson. By the time the alleged Tyler Robinson's in his black getup, he has on a black backpack. Blue backpack morning, black backpack later. We'll find out what happened to that blue backpack. And could this be the same blue backpack? I'll submit to you it cannot be. I don't think. And if it is, then it got there some other way. And if it is, it's an indication. If this is the same backpack he was wearing at the university, then he wasn't alone. I'll explain to you why I say that in a minute, but I need you to drill down and understand that. There's a reason I'm saying this. That blue backpack could not be the blue backpack he was wearing if, in fact, it's the same blue backpack. I'll explain why in a minute. I don't want to get the story out of order here. I want to stick with the warrant right now. A blue backpack was located. While searching the backpack, investigators observed a PVC pipe. It was approximately an inch in diameter. The pipe had PVC end caps with black tape wrapping around the PVC. There were also portholes in the PVC. Investigators also observed wires throughout the bag with the PVC pipe. They also observed small Raspberry Pi computer chips in the bag. These are commonly used to activate or set off explosive devices. The bag and surrounding area also had wire cutters, hammers, and other tools. Investigators also observed shell casings in Robinson's apartment that were both spent and unspent. One of the casings had been engraved with the writing "test shot," engraved similar to that of those located in and with the rifle used in the shooting of Charlie Kirk. And again, to be done safely, would have been done prior to reloading the ammunition to prevent accidental discharge. Daisy, on the run, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this was at the condo. This was at Lance's condo. There's a problem with this backpack. Obviously, they're trying to tell you there are there's essentially a pipe bomb or something that was components of a pipe bomb that were found in the Lance Twiggs Tyler Robinson condo. I've gotten that confirmation. It was in the kitchen of the Lance Twiggs Tyler Robinson shared residence. It looks like the component of a pipe bomb, and it is a blue backpack. If that is the same blue backpack that was at UVU University, then someone else brought it back from UVU to the Twiggs Robinson residence. I'll explain why in just a second. I have one more piece I want to show you here, that they actually did grab a backpack. Now we know more detail about the backpack, but on the return, on the affidavit return, we have here a description of a backpack somewhere in here. There it is right there, backpack. It's the third line from the bottom. Third full line from the bottom. Stick with electronics, 3 notebooks, Dremel tool, iPad, backpack, MacBook Air laptop. Again, MacBook Air laptop. Now we know they could have had an iMessage at the house, at the shared residence. Remember we talked about how could those messages have ended up on Tyler's phone? Well, anyone logged into iMessage on an Apple device can put those onto Tyler Robinson's phone. But it's interesting to me that they have what I think they're telling us are bomb-making equipment. They have what looks like the components of a pipe bomb there. I haven't heard anything about this. This is the first time that anybody's mentioned that they had a PVC pipe with end caps and portholes drilled in it and Raspberry Pi cartridges. And if this is just like a one-off event, Tyler Robinson went rogue, what the hell's up with the pipe bomb components? And were those Tyler Robinson's pipe bomb components? Wouldn't you want to take that backpack and fingerprint it and see were those Tyler Robinson's fingerprints? Were those Lance Twiggs' fingerprints? Was it someone else? I think we deserve some kind of a follow-up, because if Lance Twiggs is the only set of fingerprints and only DNA on the pipe bomb components in the blue backpack that was recovered from the house, it might make sense to think he's a violent individual who has plans for chaos, at least building pipe bombs and maybe setting them off in public places. We don't know. Can't say for certain, but I think it's something that deserves a little follow-up if I'm Tyler Robinson's lawyers. Whatever became of the pipe bomb components? Now, we know, I keep hinting, and I'm going to tell you now why I keep hinting. We know that could not have been the same blue backpack if Tyler Robinson was a lone actor. I'll explain to you exactly why right now. We still don't know what was in his backpacks that were on his back. But here's how we know it could not be the same backpack.
The parking structure eventually.
He does, yes.
Okay. And during this visit, do you know where he goes after he leaves the parking structure?
Yes, we were able to track his movements on campus. He went to Chick-fil-A in the Sorensen building and purchased some food, sat and ate the food. Then, I'm sorry,
Where did he purchase the food from?
Chick-fil-A in the Sorensen Center.
And where is that in relation to the amphitheater or the courtyard?
It's kind of on the northeast side of the amphitheater. It would be on the upper back edge of the amphitheater, furthest away from where the tent was that Mr. Kirk was in.
And from there, where does he go?
From there, he moves across campus, out across Campus Drive into a wooded area on what would be kind of the northeast side of Campus Drive. Then returns back onto campus. We noticed at this point that he's no longer carrying the backpack that he was originally wearing. He moves through the Gunther building.
So he left the blue backpack somewhere. He's no longer wearing the blue backpack. And then he comes back on campus with a black backpack. So I think it's kind of important to know whose blue backpack was that, whose fingerprints are on what appear to be bomb-making components, and is that the same blue backpack he was wearing that day? What if neither Twiggs nor Robinson's fingerprints and DNA are on the bomb-making equipment? Well, that raises an awfully weird suspicion, and that's going to raise all kinds of questions about whose other fingerprints could have been on these other contributing components. 5 sets of fingerprints on this device, 6 on that, 3 on that, whatever the numbers were on the different towel and gun and screwdriver and all this stuff. We know there were many different DNA contributors and fingerprint contributors. We never got an answer of who those people were. And now we have other potentially dangerous material in the house, and we never hear of it again. Is it because it undercuts the lone wolf narrative? Is it because it undercuts the idea that Tyler Robinson is the psycho in the house and Lance Twiggs is like this schoolboy, choir boy sitting around like, I don't know, I slept till 1. Don't know what I was doing the rest of the day. Have no idea why I wasn't at work on a Wednesday when I work a normal blue-collar job. It's important. This is an important thing. We've been led to believe since the preliminary hearing that he left that blue backpack somewhere. He changed it out for a black backpack. Now we have a blue backpack showing back up at home. Interesting. Now let's go to another search warrant. This is a search warrant from the hospital, Timpanogos Hospital. This is an interesting search warrant because of what it tells us they were getting and what we don't have that the search warrant says we should see. There's a piece of the public record that's being withheld from us. Somebody should try to find it. This is a search warrant for the premises known as Timpanogos Regional Hospital, further described as Timpanogos Regional Hospital, where Charlie Kirk's body is located. They don't like apostrophes, I've noticed in this. On the person described as Charlie Kirk, they want electronics belonging to Charlie Kirk, belongings on his person that went with him to the hospital, things like Rode microphones, necklaces, white Freedom shirts, jeans, underwear, socks, shoes, anything that was connected to Charlie Kirk. Where have we heard this before? That's right. I did an interview on Julian Dory's program with forensic science expert Joseph Scott Morgan, and he said he would want all of that. Well, apparently, the Utah County Sheriff's Office also wanted all of that. They requested to grant access to the deceased body, includes a search warrant of his person and belongings that went with him, grants access to the to photograph the body of Charlie Kirk and any belongings on his person or that he arrived with at the hospital. And then he goes through and says how he's a pervert. Not he himself is a pervert, but he investigates perverts. Permission is also requested to seize. Seize. Ladies and gentlemen, in the United States, seize means to take custody of, to hold possession of, to remove from your possession and transfer it to my possession, to seize and forensically analyze any electronic device belonging to Charlie Kirk, as well as any on his body or with his property that would have been transported with him to the hospital. Well, if you're going to do a forensic examination of all electronic devices that were on his person, that is a cell phone probably and a Rode microphone. Where's the forensic examination of these? Where's the examination? This says that they were intending to do this. They want to analyze it for threats or other relevant information that would lead to suspect identity. And now we come down here and we learn that, let's go to the return. Here we go. Photographs of the body of Charlie Kirk. All of the property taken by virtue of said warrant will be retained in my custody, subject to the order of this court or any other court in which the offense in respect to the property or things taken is triable. So he's saying, I'm going to take custody of this. I, George Carl, not George Carl, not the former basketball coach, Michael George Carl of the thing. They said in here somewhere that they were going to attach a list. I don't know where that is, but they said they were going to attach an inventory of what was taken, and then they didn't. Not that I could tell. So we now have a little information about what was requested from the hospital. You know, we've all wondered, why did they hand the phone back to Erica? Well, apparently they went in intending to seize it and forensically examine it. Did they do that? Is that shown up on an exhibit list anywhere? Do we know the contents of it? I'm not saying you should publicize it, but is it available? Has the defense seen it? Would they be able to look and verify the text messages that Smoke Boy said he had received, or Charlie Kirk had sent on September 9th about how he feared the left was going to kill him, and to hell with everybody else there. You better save my life. I'm the only one that matters. I'm Charlie Kirk. Did they get that message off his phone? We don't know. We don't know. But we do know that that's not the only hospital for which they issued a search warrant. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, they also issued a search warrant for Utah Valley Hospital across town. Intermountain Health Utah Valley Hospital across town. What did they want at Utah Valley Hospital? Charlie Kirk wasn't there. Well, it gave them permission to access and seize any surveillance and video footage of the hospital that would show the suspect arriving, searching, and leaving the area. So you remember there was this notion that somebody was going hospital to hospital searching for Charlie Kirk. He showed up at Utah Valley Hospital, and they didn't know who it was. We listened to a lot of those radio recordings a few weeks ago. They didn't know who it was. And so they started frantically searching for people. At one time, they mistakenly identified a couple of different people as potential suspects. Like Zechariah Qureshi came up, and there was a lot of confusion. I don't think it was him. They didn't know who it was, but they knew a description of the vehicle he fled in. And then while they're at Zechariah Qureshi's apartment, that vehicle rolls up, and a guy in the FBI gets out. The Federal Bureau of Investigation gets out of that vehicle. And they're like, oh, what a mistake. What a weird thing. Well, what do we know was taking place at Utah Valley University Hospital, or Utah Valley Hospital? The suspect was seen at the hospital, possibly searching for Charlie Kirk, who was not there. Suspect has since fled in the area and is not in custody. And so they were able to access and seize surveillance and video footage. What else might that show, though? Who else was at Utah Valley University Hospital? If Charlie Kirk wasn't there, what might those video cameras show? Well, there was a purported transfer of patients from one hospital to another. Perhaps it would show that. Well, if the FBI has seized that footage, they won't have it. But you know who else was there? A guy named George Zinn was at Utah Valley University Hospital. Where's the Zinn one? There it is. George Zinn was at Utah Valley University Hospital. That's where they took him. And we have the search warrant now for George Zinn. I'll show you that now. This is a pretty fascinating search warrant in what it says about his idea for that day, why he was there. So they're looking for CSAM material, little people material. Images, depictions, whether written or visual, of kitty stuff. And they go on and they have this long description of what all this stuff is. We've blacked out a lot of it just because the description alone is gross. But as we scroll down here, we now get to the investigation. This is fascinating. As they scan the area looking for the suspect, a 71-year-old male named George Zinn approached UVU police officers stating, "I shot him, shoot me." The male was quickly taken into custody, and a search incident to arrest showed that he did not have a firearm on his person. He was asked where the gun was, and George stated, "I'm not going to tell you where it is." The male again stated, "I shot him, now shoot me." The male was transported out of the area back to the UVU Police Department. As this was happening, officers were searching the immediate area around where George approached police in search of a firearm that did not exist, pulling resources from the search for the actual shooter who had now escaped the area. Read this area in blue and think about the consequences of what this means. Think about the English language that he uses here. George was told at one point that his actions drew officers' attention to him and pulled resources away from finding the actual shooter. George responded by saying, "Well, good, that was my plan, to help him get away." Did you guys know that George Zinn admitted to being part of a conspiracy? His plan was to help the shooter get away? You're telling me he thought of all that in like 1 second? He heard a bang and he thought, I need to help this shooter get away. Why would he want to help the shooter get away? He was a fan of Charlie Kirk. Why would he want to help the shooter get away? What good comes from that if you're George Zinn? And more importantly, why were we not told this? Why was no one told? Why was no one told that George Zinn said, that was my plan to help the shooter get away? Ladies and gentlemen, this changes the nature of the investigation. We now have to ask the obvious question. Was there a plan? Was George Zinn part of it? We've long speculated it looked like he was. It's an anomaly that's yet to be answered to my satisfaction. I'm not convinced he wasn't. And after reading his statement, I now am convinced he was, in fact, part of a plan. A pre-plan where George Zinn would be stationed in the crowd at a convenient place in the middle. A loud bang would go off. Charlie Kirk would go down, and George Zinn would start waving his hat and say, I did it, shoot me. I shot him, now shoot me. And in doing so, he would help him get away, the real assailant. Think about everything that happened in those few minutes while they were messing around with George Zinn. Candace played a clip today of Terrell Farnsworth going and getting an SD card out of the camera. Well, that was just like 4 minutes after the shot, I think. They're out there messing with George Zinn. They're not securing a crime scene. They've got a 71-year-old man saying, I did it, shoot me. And you've got multiple cops responding to this guy. It was my plan to help him get away. Who's him? Who's him? The assailant, the team, the people who took down Charlie Kirk, the real assassins, or assassins. I think this statement, the fact that we've not heard this, that nobody's mentioned this, they love pulling these statements from Mike Mitchell, who said, oh, yeah, Charlie told his parents he did it. Trust me, bro. Trust me. They love rubbing that in our faces. They've been telling us that for 11 months. He confessed to his parents. 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 Well, now we know who said that. It was Mike Mitchell. It wasn't at all his parents. It was Mike Mitchell. But while they're quoting from this same batch of search warrants, signed by the same child pervert cop, no one is talking about the fact that George Zinn admitted to being part of a plan. He had a plan to help the shooter get away. There's no innocent reading to this. There's no innocent reading to this. The guy was a Charlie Kirk fan. He showed up to watch Charlie Kirk. He was a Republican activist. There's a loud bang. Charlie Kirk goes down. Blood and gore everywhere. And George Zinn says, my plan was to help the assailant get away. You didn't come up with that in 1 second. I mean, it was literally like 1 to 3 seconds before he stands up and starts waving his hat, saying, I did it, shoot me. And we've long speculated, what on earth could he have possibly wanted to do with that? Well, now we know. Now, if you read the rest of the search warrant, the reason they're looking for all the pervert stuff is because George Zinn says, I have kitty stuff on my phone. Well, they were going to look at his phone anyway. Right? He had just confessed to being part of a plan. They're going to look at his phone. So whether he admitted it or not, they were going to find it. But the warrant was on September 15th. They found out he was a pervert that day. If you read the narrative, you find out it was that very day, September 10th, that they realized he was a pervert. And they scrolled through his phone and found some pervert material. And it was gross. The way they described it was nasty. But they have that there. And so they go get the warrant later, and they go get the warrant for his phone, and they go get the warrant for the surveillance footage. Why? Well, what else might George Zinn have said? They took him to the hospital because he got roughed up a little bit in the melee. They took him to the hospital, to UVU Hospital, or Utah Valley Hospital, where they stole all the surveillance footage. Why? Was George Zinn still muttering about the plan? Was he still talking about his role? Was he, he's alleged to have told someone at the hospital that he was paid to be part of this plan? Was he a patsy because he had this material on him? Because he was that kind of guy? We don't know the answers to any of those questions. We also didn't know he had confessed to being part of a plan. Now we do. So if you're going to tell me that Tyler Robinson's a lone wolf, that Tyler Robinson did this alone, you're going to have to explain to me why George Zinn thinks he was part of a plan. And his plan was to help the true assailant get away. Now, let's go to another bit of data, because this bit of data starts to give us an idea of where they believe the assailant fled in the immediate aftermath. This is pretty interesting stuff. This is going to be dense. Get your cap and gown on. Maybe get a pen and paper out. They sent a warrant to Google. This warrant was looking for Google accounts that reported a GPS, cellular, Wi-Fi, or Bluetooth sourced location history data generated from devices that reported a location within the geographic region bounded by the following coordinates and times. I'll translate this to English for everybody. You remember we were talking about the superfeed controversy because they were geofencing churches? They still are, I think. Geofencing churches. They geofenced the memorial service for Charlie Kirk, and they captured the phone data for 277,000 people. That's what this is. This is geofenced material. They want to go back and look at a particular geographic location. We'll show you these on a map in just a second. And in particular time, say what devices reported location in these areas. And your phone is constantly reporting location. In fact, if you have an app open that uses location, like Google Maps or anything else, you will find that it is constantly the little location arrows coming on. It's constantly feeding information back to Google servers, letting them know where you are. That might not be comforting, but that's what's happening. So they have particular areas here. They've got these coordinates here. That's from 1145 to 12. I'll show you on a map shortly where that was, but just to give you a little time component of what we're talking about, this is Charlie Kirk allegedly was shot at 12:23. So this would be before the event, and we'll show you where they believe the suspect may have been before the event. Then there was this area here, 12:15 to 12:30. That was during the event. So we will see where they believe the suspect was during the event. Have another one here, 12:15 to 12:35. Same thing. This is during and immediately after. And 12:24 to 12:40, this is after the event. 12:24 to 12:40, this is again after the event. And they've given us particular areas here where we can key in and get an idea of where they believe he was. So where do they believe he was at these particular times? Let me pull up our fancy map here that Daisy made. You're going to see how amazing this map is in mere moments. Check this out. And she even coded it in the order of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Not pride stuff. It's just a way to make it easy to follow. So if you zoom in on the map here, this is before the event. This is just by way of noticing, this is the house where Phil Lyman was at the time. Notice it is conveniently excluded from this map. We don't see it. It is conveniently excluded from this map. It goes right in front of Phil Lyman's aunt's house, or whoever that is, sister's house, whatever it is. But it's this area where he walked down this, or somebody in black walked down this area with a limp, and then walked into this tunnel right here at the bottom. And that was between 11:45 and 12. Well, that makes sense. We saw that video footage. We've known that story the whole time. It makes sense that they would want to geofence that area off and look for Google apps that were pinging Google servers during this period of time. Now we go to orange. This is the Losee Center. These are the actual boundaries plotted out on a map that they gave us. Actual boundaries they gave us. They gave each corner, and she built a little map out of it. And so this second one, 12:15 to 12:30, this is the Losee Center roof. It's interesting they cut off at 12:30, though, and didn't cut it off at 12:44 when Officer Bagley went up there, because this leaves open 12:30 to 12:44. where they might have been able to ransack the Google servers and figure out if anybody was on the roof after the alleged assailant hopped off the roof and before Officer Bagley showed up. This would have been a nice 30-minute window that they made a 15-minute window. But they didn't do that, now did they? I don't know why. I'm not drawing suspicion. This is 12:15 to 12:35. This batch of trees right here is the batch of trees where the rifle was recovered. Sort of the right-hand side of this. But these two bushes here at the parking lot right here, this is where the alleged assailant walked between these two bushes and then crossed the street, all within the yellow boundary here, and then allegedly went over here, and then allegedly made his way north to this street here, and then they don't know whether he went this way to the top right or this way to the top left. They don't know where he went at that time. So that's red, orange, yellow. Now we go to green. 12:24 to 12:40. So this is 1 minute after the Big Bang up to 17 minutes after the Big Bang. They believe they have evidence that he was in this box, and they want to know who was in this box pinging Google servers. Now, if you're walking down this road right here, this is the road he was seen walking down in the morning before the event. From one of these doorbell cams up here at the top of the box. He was seen walking down this road right here, actually right here in front of these two houses. They've covered that, so they believe he went back that same way. He left to go back that way. Interesting to me that we have Ring doorbell footage from Phil Lyman's aunt that he was in this area right here wandering around. And you remember I played that video last week for you where he was wandering around, or maybe Sunday, I don't remember what day it was, but I played it recently where he's wandering around in this field on this dirt path. And there's the young man, and he's recording, and there's a woman with him, and they talked about he was there with the girl. It was the girl helping him. Notice they conveniently did not ask for that data. It would have been real easy to just get a bigger area on a couple of these, and they would have covered Phil Lyman's aunt's house, and they would have covered this area up here, this dirt path area, where he was actually seen, someone looking awfully suspicious was seen on a Ring doorbell camera, and where neighbors have eyewitness identified that somebody was back there that they believed was the assailant. But they conveniently didn't want that stuff. Why? I think because that woman thinks he met up with someone back there. And the data would reveal if someone else was back there. And then we go to the final one here, 12:24 to 12:40. This is an interesting one to me. Because we found what we believe was his car right here on this road right here. We believe that is the Dodge Challenger belonging to Tyler Robinson, or being driven by Tyler Robinson. And if you roll down this street, you'll see this box covers this road. So if he was walking here in this green box and he was walking in this blue box, to get to his car, he would take a left. And he would go right towards his car by 12:40. Otherwise, why are they asking for this data? But on a warrant we're going to look at later, we're going to find that the information that led them to want this box, this little patch of earth right here, actually came from past this street. I don't know why I keep hitting the wrong button. Actually came from past this street. So instead of turning left on that road and walking to his vehicle, instead of walking through this green box, instead of walking through that green box, walking to the corner of this blue box and taking a left and going up the road here towards his vehicle, they actually use one of these three houses as a ping location because, and I believe it's because they picked him up on a Ring doorbell camera there. So the question is, why did he walk past his car? Why did he make the walk back to his car after the biggest assassination in 6 decades? Why did he make the walk longer than it had to be? I think that's telling. We'll look at that in just a second. I think it's the next one we're going to. It is the next one we're going to. So I want you guys to not get lost in all this data. I know there's a lot of dense material. But these are search warrants that they're asking for specific data, geofence location data from a specific patch of dirt, from a specific area of earth, And they have a reason to believe that he might have been in that specific patch. They're not just guessing. He was seen on Ring doorbell cameras. And on this next map, we're going to see precisely which cameras they spotted him on. We'll find that out in just a moment. So let's go to the next one here. This search warrant is a cell phone data dump. So what they're looking for here is, and this is a little complex as well, that last one was geofencing. This one's not geofencing as much as just these service providers, T-Mobile, AT&T, Cellco, Verizon, these different providers, they let you ping off their towers if you're in the area. And they figure out how to distribute the fees to each other, but they let you ping off their towers. And so they send us out and say, hey, if you have a tower covering this area, we want all of the information you have from these towers at this location at this particular time. So this gives us actually much more detailed location. For example, this is the type of stuff they want. Stored text message transaction data. Incoming and outgoing calls, meaning the number coming in and the number receiving the call, or the number going out and the number receiving the call. Calls originating or terminating numbers involving both phone numbers. Information shall include telephone numbers dialed, incoming telephone numbers, date, time, duration of the call, registration, connection records, IMSI and IMEI of the number associated. So that's like device identification. Cell tower information. Where's the tower located? How long was the call? Beginning and last second of each call. Associated eNode ID, cell ID, Gnode ID, cell ID, location area, all this stuff. They want all this information from these particular areas. And they give you a point. I want everything that provided service to that point right there at these times. So between 1140 and 1255, I want this point. This number 2 here, this location number 2 right here. Location number 2, I can make it a little bigger. Cell towers provided to the service at this point. And we've plotted these out on a map for you. You don't have to pull out your Google Earth and try to find it. I'll show you in a second. On this date for these hours, 12:10 to 12:40. These are all September 10th. Location 3, cell towers that provided service to this particular point for a period of 12:20 to 12:55. It's location 4 that's new. This is not information we had before today. Location number 4 is the cell phone towers that provided service to this particular geolocation, 1 point, for the time period of September 8th, from 8:10 p.m. to 8:25 p.m. Now, I will show you these points on a map, but I want you to key in on that. September 8th, Charlie Kirk died on September 10th. Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson were questioned on the 11th and the 12th. Why do we need September 8th? That's a little weird, right? Why would we need that? Well, I'm going to show you why, and you'll understand why I want to know where Tyler Robinson was on September 8th. So let's go to this location map, and we'll show you where these locations are located. And again, if they want to know cell service providing to this location, they mean they have a reason to believe he was right there. Not down the road, not across the street, there, right there in that spot. So let's look at location 1. Let's go to location 1. We have reason to believe that Tyler Robinson was, in fact, right here. And I'll tell you why we have reason to believe that. I'm not going to show you the video footage, but you've seen it. You've seen the video footage of Tyler Robinson walking down the street with a limp, or the alleged Tyler Robinson walking down the street with a limp, this side of the road right here. He was on this sidewalk right here. I'll go back to the way it looked on September 10th, so you'll see the lines on the road and the cars that were parked out there. He's walking down this sidewalk right here, and he's captured from a cell phone footage in this house right here. We've seen that cell phone footage. I mean, that camera phone footage. That is Ring doorbell footage that captured him. We can see these flowers in the foreground. We can see these cars in the background. And we can see this fence in the background. And we can see this house in the background. We know Tyler Robinson was right here, captured on this camera, right here at this house. That's why they want that data. They want that data from that location because that's where he was. Okay. What about location number 2? Location number 2 is over here. This is the Losee Center. We know that they want to know who was on the Losee Center and was it Tyler Robinson. So they have a request out to the towers, all the different providers that provide service, cell phone service to this area for the Losee Center roof. That's location number 2. And that covers 12:10 to 12:40 p.m. on September 10th. That is when it happened. That's when the Big Bang occurred. And so if there was a cell phone on that roof, you're going to get this information. If it made a phone call, if it made a text, you're going to get that as well. They want to know who was on that roof and if it was, in fact, Tyler Robinson. That's September 10th. So now let's go to location number 3. This is where it gets a little interesting. This is the pinpoint of location number 3. If you look on a street view, you can see there's a Ring camera on this house, which means they probably picked up Tyler Robinson at this location right here between 12:20 and 12:55, or someone they believe is Tyler Robinson or they believe is the assailant at this location right here. Again, here's the problem with that. Look at the university. It's down here. We come up to the green arrow and it's right here. But if we come up this road between the university and the green arrow, we see what appears to be Tyler Robinson's car, what we believe is Tyler Robinson's car. So this pin right here would lead you to believe Tyler Robinson actually walked past his car between 12:20 and 12:55 p.m. Why? Why? And keep in mind, it's a very tight timeline we're working with here. It's a very tight timeline we're working with because at 12:43, he shows up, or 12:45, he shows up in a parking lot on the other side of town. So he didn't have time to dither, right? At 12:29, you have the guy dressed in black running behind Phil Lyman's aunt's house. That's totally left out of all of this search warrant information. They didn't ask for cell phone location from that street. They didn't ask for geolocation information from that part of the street where that guy was spotted, where a video was recorded, and we think we saw the assailant. We think he was right there on that patch of dirt. We think he might have met up with somebody, a woman perhaps. Conveniently missing. Now, why? Was there more than one person out there and they don't want us to know who that person was? They don't want the defense to know who that person was, so they don't request that information, and then the cell phone towers dump all that information. It's not recoverable now. You're not going to get it now. You didn't ask for it. We'll never know whose cell phone was in that patch of dirt. Was it Tyler Robinson? Was it Lance Twiggs? Was it a woman? We don't know. Was it someone else? We have no idea. You want to know the answer to the question that Candace was fighting with Andrew Wilson about? Was Tyler Robinson a patsy? Things like this make me think yes. You know, I've long alleged that it looks like, to me, there's a multi-agency cover-up here. Why wouldn't they have asked for that information? You have a woman who is on a video saying, I think he was right there. I saw him. And we know the police went and searched that area. We have footage, news camera footage of the police searching there. We also have their doorbell cam footage of the police coming up to their doorbell saying, is this where you saw him? Right out here? And they're like, yep, that's it right there. We also have Phil Lyman's video footage of him talking to cops who came to that door, and they were talking about what they saw right outside that door. Why on earth do we not have an affidavit asking for cell phone information from that patch of dirt? It doesn't exist. Instead, we get a request for a street pass or house past Tyler Robinson's car. He's just out there meandering around. If you put it all together, he jumps off the roof, he runs over to the trees, now he's in a construction site, now he's behind Phil Lyman's ant house, now he's down 800, past his car, then he comes back somehow and wanders back to his car. Did he get lost? All this planning? At least a week, he said? All this planning and you just take a wrong turn when you're fleeing the scene? No. I don't buy it, not for a second. Now, here's where it gets interesting. They requested a fourth location. And that fourth location was the night of September 8th, between 8 and 8:30. I don't remember the exact times. Go back and look, I guess. They requested a fourth location, and this location was for, no, not that one. Not that one. There it is. This is September, nope, not that one either. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. The fourth location was requested between 8:10 and 8:25, a very narrow window. 8:10 and 8:25. Do you want to know where that request was made? You want to know what they were looking for? The exact same coordinate they were looking for the day of the shooting. It was this location right here. It was the Losee Center. They were asking for cell phone data from the roof of the Losee Center on September 8th, 2 days before Charlie Kirk was taken out. You think they just randomly picked that day? They only gave him 4 locations. They only gave him 4 times. Do you think they were like, well, we know where he was these 3 times on the 10th. Let's just throw in another one, keep him honest. We don't want him to know what we're looking for. All right, Jerry, what are we going to give him? Well, Tim, Steve, pick a date, any date. September 8th. Yeah. Give him September 8th. What time? Ooh. How about sundown when it's dusky? When someone might be able to get on the roof and not be super obvious because the campus isn't going to be packed and the sun's not going to be blaring. And you're not going to have people wandering up and down the stairs of the Losee Center. Things kind of die down on campus at about 8 o'clock at night. Yeah, let's put that time on there. They'll never see that coming. No, we don't expect to see anything there. We have no reports of somebody being on the roof on September 8th, scouting out the event. We have no information that that's the case. No, friends. That's not what we're looking for. I got to show you one thing I forgot to put on here. I will get it to you in mere moments. Hold, please. I can send it here, and I can pull it up on my phone. All right. I'm going to pull up something here. Do you know when it was announced precisely where he was going to be at UVU? Everybody takes it for granted that everybody knew he was going to be at the courtyard at that particular location in that particular courtyard on September 10th at noon. Well, that's not the case. In fact, the very first report, now we knew he was coming to UVU as early as August 27th, and they just said the courtyard. Well, there are 2 courtyards. In fact, one gets more use than the other. It's over by the Fulton Library. The UVU courtyard that Charlie Kirk died in was the lesser used of the 2 courtyards. And it wasn't until this article came out on the UVU Review website that we knew precisely where he was going to be. And this article did not come out until September 9th at 4:31 p.m. Mountain Time. That's when this came out. September 9th at 4:31 p.m., the afternoon, the late afternoon before the September 10th event, is where they finally announced it would be the UVU Fountain Courtyard the following day at noon. Meaning, they don't know where he could have been. I'll go back to this picture here. For all they know, he was going to be in the courtyard over here that's also used, frequently used, this courtyard by the library. This is a frequently used place. It's easy to get to. Look at all that parking. It's a beautiful place to be. This is in the center of campus, a little harder to get to. also surrounded by tall buildings and in a bowl. But here's the other thing, too. I want you to look at this keyhole you have to get in order to get a glimpse of Charlie Kirk where he's located here. You have to be, if you're going to be on the Losee Center, you have to be in a position where this ledge right here is not blocking you and these trees aren't blocking you. You have a very small window here of about 10 or 15 feet between these trees and this ledge. Both of those would block your view. Now look at this tent up here. Let's say you put Charlie Kirk over here in the corner somewhere. Well, you'd have no kind of view from the Losee Center. None. Let's say you just move the tent off center a little bit. Instead of putting it here, you put it over in the corner over here. Well, you've got no view of Charlie Kirk from the top of the Losee Center. You can't get there. So it's not until they actually put the tent up that morning at 9:20 a.m. that morning when we have photographs of the security team actually telling them where to put the tent. It's not until then that anyone would have known that you would have a shot from the Losee Center roof. So we're to believe, the official narrative is, Tyler Robinson planned this for at least a week without knowing exactly where he'd be, just at UVU campus somewhere in a courtyard. And on September 8th, somebody, I think we can infer, was seen on the top of the Losee Center roof. That's why they're looking for that location data. I mean, there's no other explanation. Somebody on September 8th is seen on the top of the Losee Center roof, but there's no allegation Tyler Robinson was there on September 8th. I've not heard any. I'd love to know where he was. If anyone knows where Tyler Robinson was, my email is realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Please, by all means. This is now becoming an important part of the story. Where was Tyler Robinson at 8 p.m. on September 8th? Keep in mind, in order to get to UVU, he would have to drive 4 hours from St. George, Utah, which means to get on the roof by 8:10, he has to leave his house by like 4 p.m. And then he gets off the roof no later than 8:25. That's assuming all he did was drive directly to UVU, park right next to the Losee Center roof, run, scamper up the stairs, think, that's got to be where he's going to be, right there. Spend only 15 minutes up there, run off the roof, and fly back home to get home by 12:30 in the morning. 8-hour round trip to spend 15 minutes on campus? That's your plan? That's your plan? No, I don't buy it. That doesn't make sense. UVU's a complex place. It's got a lot of hills, terraces. Some roofs go out onto some roofs go out and become walkways at the next building down. I mean, it's built on like the side of a mountain. It doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. The more you dig into the story, the less sense it makes that a random 22-year-old gay kid in St. George is like assaulting Google Earth to try to see where could he possibly be, and if he's here, where am I going to be, and if he's here, where am I going to be, and if he's here, where am I going to be? And then before they even announce where he's going to be, I'm going to go ahead up there and just assume he's going to be here, and I'm going to assume I'll have a clear angle of him, and they're not going to put him over in the corner, and they're not going to put him up on this second ledge. Oh, and they're not going to put a speaker directly in front of him that'll be blocking me. Like, you know how many variables this guy had to consider if he did this alone? And there was no help, and he had no additional information? He had to just guess before it was even announced he would be there, so that he would just happen to show up at the exact right time. And again, having never been on the, there's no allegation that I'm aware of that he had ever been on the Losee Center roof. If that wasn't him on September 8th, how did he know he could even get up there? How did he know it wouldn't be blocked off? How did he know there wouldn't be a cop up there? How did he know there wouldn't be, how did he know the gravel was stable enough to run on? How did he know that you could even see over the ledge and get a clean shot down there? How did he know they weren't going to put a speaker or some sort of, the tent wouldn't be blocking him? I mean, how would you know all that? If you follow Charlie Kirk at all, you know he always sits in a tent. This guy's like 70, 80, 90 feet above Charlie Kirk, looking down at a 9-degree angle. How do you know you're going to be able to get a clean shot? And you're not going to be shooting through a blind tent? I want to know where Tyler Robinson was on September 8th. And if Tyler Robinson was not at home, I mean, if he was at home, I want to know why they requested that information. Who was on the roof that made them suspicious? Who did they figure out that was? It just doesn't add up to me. It doesn't make sense. This isn't a story you could sell a jury. I'm sorry, it's just not. The jury's going to ask the same questions I'm asking. The defense is going to ask the same questions. Now, I want one more thing on this cell phone. We have one more warrant. They did a cell phone extraction of Tyler Robinson's cell phone. And on this cell phone extraction, they say that the gray Dodge Challenger was parked in front of the Noble house where the Ring doorbell you remember the fuzzy Ring doorbell camera footage that was at night, and you could hear the door open and close, and you could kind of make out that there was a figure getting in and out of the car, and you could see the lights flash, and there were crickets making all kinds of noise. I'm not going to play the footage, but it came from a home. The Nobles live there. Great family. Nothing wrong with them. They're superb human beings, as far as I know. They turn this over to the police. The police get a hold of this footage, and they review it. And they say, hey, that does look like a Dodge Challenger. Might be our guy. So they go get a warrant. And the warrant is for cell phone information from Tyler's cell phone. And in the affidavit of the warrant, they give a time period where he was sitting in that location. That time period that they gave in the warrant is important. I'm going to show you that right now. It's on page 6 here. I'll blow it up a little bit so you can see it. Tell me if you see anything in this affidavit here that sticks out to you as not consistent with what we've already heard. Again, this is a newly discovered warrant here. Through continued investigation, a gray Dodge Challenger with the Utah plate black, black, black was found to be co-registered to Tyler Robinson on 9/12. That's the morning after Tyler Robinson was arrested. It was seen at his parents' residence, and they gave an address there. Search through a license plate reader reveals that on 9/11, the vehicle was in Cedar City, Utah. So apparently they do have license plate readers that have picked him up along the way. Why don't we have all that information? Why don't we know every single license plate reader that picked him up? Following the shooting, detectives canvassed homes for video footage. Investigators located surveillance camera footage dated 9/11. So this is after midnight. Charlie was shot at noon, or taken down at noon on September 10th. After midnight on 9/11, the video footage depicted a vehicle matching the description of a Dodge Challenger. Look at the times. The footage showed the vehicle park at approximately 0:23 hours and remain there until approximately 01:20 hours. 0:23, that's 12:23 a.m. The video footage showed it was there at 12:23 a.m. and remained there until 1:20. Why is that important? Why is this newly discovered bombshell, in my opinion? Well, let's go hear from the creepy looking, well, I shouldn't say looking, I can't help. Well, I kind of can, it's his haircut. The creepy appearing, the creepy acting, maybe, Agent Hull? And let's find out if 12:23 a.m. makes sense.
A Ring doorbell video that was provided that showed a vehicle consistent with the one we had identified as belonging to Mr. Robinson, parking in front of the residence across the street.
Okay. And what can you tell us about the timing and the timing of that parked vehicle?
If I recall, that vehicle parked approximately 0:38 hours on the morning of the 11th.
Okay. So 0:38 hours, what time is that to regular people?
Just after midnight
At 12:38 a.m.?
in the morning, yes.
Okay.
So he puts the car there at 12:38. 12:23 on the search warrant. 12:38 according to Officer Hull. Well, do we have a different time? Well, we know that the Ring doorbell footage was clipped in a way that we can't see the timestamps. This is a little weird. If we go look at it, you cannot see the timestamps. This is a recurring theme in this case. Footage is getting weirded out on us.
Well, let's go ahead and play it.
Is there any sound associated with this?
There is, Judge, but it's night sounds. It's crickets chirping and
Okay, I just
There-
wanted to
there's-
see if
what's
there
that?
was, I just wanted to see if
There's
there
nothing
was sound
violent.
or not. Okay.
I'm not going to play the whole footage, but trust me, there's no timestamp. I just wanted to show you that. My cameras have timestamps. I don't know, maybe all cameras don't have timestamps, but mine have timestamps. And most cameras I've seen have timestamps. Those don't have timestamps. What's the problem? What do you care? What do you care if it's 12:23 or if it's 12:38? What's 15 minutes among friends, right? Well, turns out it matters. Why does it matter? Because we have a gray Dodge Challenger that they're going to tell us is Tyler Robinson. And if you look at the timestamp here at the bottom, this is in universal time. You have to subtract 6 hours from this timestamp down here. This is 12:36 a.m. 12:36 and 2 seconds a.m. If he's parked in front of the residence at 12:23, it's going to be really inconvenient for him to be driving around town at 12:36. That's a real problem there. It's a real problem.
Now,
This is the intersection of Campus Drive and 800 South. There's a vehicle attempting to turn right onto Campus Drive. That's the vehicle that's driven by Mr. Robinson.
and on the screen, where is that vehicle that you're referring to located, if you broke it into quadrants?
It's on the left side, on the upper side, the upper quadrant.
Now what do we see?
That vehicle's now pulling away and heading east on 800 South.
So at 12:36 a.m. and 30-something seconds, he's still rolling around. Well, he can't be rolling around if he's parked in front of the Noble's house at 12:23. Let's just be honest. We don't know when this footage was discovered, but can imagine the problem you would have if you filled out a search affidavit and you compared the timestamps from the camera footage and you looked and you said, oh, it's 12:23. Got it. Well, 12:23. So we write that in there. And then later they uncover it. Well, we also have him on traffic camera. Wow. What fortune. He's all over the place. And then you look at that and go, oh, no. That's 13 minutes after we have him at the Noble's house. Well, that's not going to work. We're going to have to reconcile these two times. I am very curious. Where did they get this time that went into the search warrant? Now, it's possible search warrants aren't precise. It's possible they just didn't know the time, or they had heard the time from somebody. It was hearsay and they got the number wrong. I don't know. But it's worth noting because if you go to other search warrants, we have 12:23 as a time. We have 12:38 as a time. 12:23 from one search warrant. We have 12:38, 15 minutes later. That came from Officer Hull. And now we have yet a third time that shows up out of nowhere. This is a different search warrant we've already looked at in the past. The vehicle initially parked at 12:47 a.m. on September 11th and left at 1:35 a.m. on September 11th. Guys, we're now at a 24-minute gap. I don't believe that we just don't know what time he rolled in there. It looks to me like they're trying to figure out what's the best time to put him there. That's how it comes across to me. It's possible these are all honest mistakes. Maybe one of those three is right. Maybe none of them are right. But if the first one's right, that ain't him. That's probably a bald man with 3 passengers. That would be the best explanation for me, is that there's a bald man with 3 passengers parked there. And this other guy that's supposedly Tyler Robinson is rolling around town. Who knows what he's doing? That's what makes most sense to me, because you got to remember the statement filed by the Noble's wife, Randy Noble's wife. She signed a statement that was revealed during cross-examination where she said, oh, yeah, I remember that car. There was a bald man driving, and he had 3 passengers. Then that makes a little more sense why we don't know what the hell time he showed up. I think this is going to be a key component to the defense, figuring out what happened here after midnight on September 11th. Was it Tyler Robinson? Were any of the 3 rolling around times Tyler Robinson? Was Tyler Robinson there at 12:23? Was Tyler Robinson on the road at 12:36? Was Tyler Robinson there at 12:47? We can't be all 3. That's physically impossible. Can't do that. So what time was he there? What time was he there? That doesn't happen. That doesn't work. Now you might get an idea why they're so worried about the Panguitch situation. Because if Tyler Robinson's at a steakhouse in Panguitch, now you might see why they're freaking out and why they're trying to discredit that so much. Because if he's at a steakhouse in Panguitch till 10 o'clock at night, is he rolling around in 3 different locations at 12:23, 12:36, 12:38, 12? Oh, it's 4 different times. 12:47? Unlikely. So we have a real problem on our hands here. Because something happened between September 12th, when the affidavit was filed for the search warrant, and September 15th, when the traffic cam footage becomes available. A new variable has entered the chat. September 12th, they're like, yeah, 12:23, what difference does it make? Well, why do we, let's just be accurate. Let's just put the right time down. That's the way I read this. And then on September 15th, they're like, guys, we got traffic camera footage that puts him at 12:36, and he's still on the road. We've got a problem on our hands. And that's when the time starts changing. Now we get a search warrant with 12:47. Then we get Officer Hull at 12:38. We got a problem on our hands. Now, go back to September 8th. We're asking for a cell phone location data. We're asking for a cell phone dump, cell tower dump for that location at the Losee Center roof on September 8th between 8:10 and 8:25 p.m. If someone was on camera, why haven't we heard of that? Why is that not part of the narrative? Why haven't they told us, well, it was obviously Tyler Robinson. He was here scouting it out. Or we know that this happened. We asked for this information. We figured out who it was. Honest mistake. It was just a maintenance guy up there picking up cigarette butts off the roof. Like, what? Tell us what happened. Tell us what happened. If it wasn't him, who was it? And where was Tyler Robinson? Had he ever been to campus before? Did he come to campus in the week before scouting it out? Did he know where the Chick-fil-A was? How did he know how to get just to the Chick-fil-A, by the way? And the George Zinn thing, I'm sorry, just totally freaks me out. It's evidence of a plan. And you guys want to tell us there's overwhelming evidence it was Tyler Robinson and overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson worked alone. I just got a very concerning message on my... I'm alarmed. Don't tell me not to be alarmed. I'm alarmed. I've never been more alarmed in my... Well, I have, but... I'm alarmed. You can't write that in the middle of a show and tell me not to be alarmed. Ladies and gentlemen, I've committed no crime. No, I'm just kidding. I'm happy. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm happy. I love my family. I have plans for the future. I got some great plans coming up the end of August into September. I got a lot of stuff going on, guys. Just want to be on the record. Anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked with that. But I think there's a reason we haven't seen all these search warrants. You know, they like to quote certain parts of these search warrants. They like to float out some of these search warrants, and others are hidden. Like, these were pretty hidden. Daisy did some pretty spectacular work to locate these. I'm not aware of anybody else in the world who's found these yet. And she did some pretty spectacular research in order to track these down and find them. There's a reason I think they were so hard to find. And it's that all this information in here is difficult to reconcile with the idea that Tyler Robinson planned and executed Charlie Kirk by himself. That there was no broader conspiracy. There was no attempt to communicate his desires to other people. His roommate had nothing to do with it and wasn't in on it. I think this is all undermined by the existence of these search warrants. Is the facts in these search warrants? It's all undermined by that. Who was making pipe bombs, or what appeared to be pipe bombs, or collecting pipe bomb making equipment in a blue backpack at Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs' house? Why have we never heard about this? We heard about all their messy house. We got pictures from Turkey Tom. We've got his notebook, his journal. We've got individual pictures of his journal. We've seen his messy living room, his Dorito bags everywhere. We got pictures of all that. Nobody thought to tell us they were making pipe bombs? No one thought to fingerprint the pipe bombs to see who was involved in them? No one thought to tell us if it was Lance Twiggs or Tyler Robinson or some unknown third party with fingerprints and DNA all over the Raspberry Pi cards that, according to the Assailant, are frequently used to detonate these things. The PVC pipes, the drilled holes, who drilled the holes, how did they get there? Was there anything else in the house that could have contributed to this? Were there, I don't know how to make these things, but clocks, wires? I'm assuming you need some sort of explosive device, some sort of, I don't know. None of this was there. And we don't have any clue. We're just going to sweep it under the rug? Guys, we just had an international manhunt that lasted 2 years or 4 years for the January 5th and 6th pipe bomber in Washington, D.C. These are big deals. These are huge problems. You've got an apartment manufacturing these things and there's no follow-up. There's no news report. There's no investigation into who could have been involved in these things. Are you crazy? Are you guys out of your mind? We've got a time discrepancy on when the gray Dodge Challenger parked outside of Miss Noble's house that she said a bald man and 3 passengers came out of. And now we're learning from one of the search warrants, it could have been there 13 minutes before the alleged Tyler Robinson was seen on a traffic cam down the road. That's a problem. We've got George Zinn saying it was my plan to let the assailant get away. That was my plan. You don't come up with you don't have a plan. If you say the word plan, it's something that took place ahead of time. Like I don't have a plan to grab these medjool dates. They're delicious, by the way. Whole organic medjool dates, one of the greatest snacks you can have. But I didn't have a plan to grab them. I just grabbed them. I don't have a plan to open the hearing aid box and flap it around a little bit and put it back down. I didn't have a plan for that. I just did it. You know, I got a plan to go to the dentist in a couple of weeks. That's a plan. I've got a plan to do a show tomorrow night. That's a plan. George Zinn had a plan. The plan was to get up and take credit for this so the assailant could escape. To extract police resources away from finding the actual assailant and draw attention to himself so that person could escape, that person or people could escape. And they're not going to report on this? They're not going to talk about it in the preliminary hearing? We're not going to get anything in any of the filings about this? You want to know why I think there's a multi-agency cover-up? It's nights like tonight. It's nights like tonight. When we discover a hidden trove of search warrants, I don't think they wanted us to find. Of all the names they've given us that we were able to track down the other search warrants, the ones on this search warrant were not given. I honestly, she told me how she found it. I don't remember. I'm sure it was amazing. I'm sure it was amazing. She told me and I was listening and I was like, that sounds too complex. Get a daisy. You want to find these search warrants? Get a daisy. But I don't have an explanation for these facts. And you want me to believe the case against Tyler Robinson is open and shut? Tell me why he walked past his car on his way back to his car. Tell me why we have eyewitness testimony of someone they believe was involved behind their house, and we're searching all around that area, but not right there. And they believe there was more than one person back there. Well, that's convenient. That's convenient. You've got 2 people on a dirt path in between houses. One of them dressed in black that you think might have been involved, and he looked shady and he was pacing back and forth. And you thought he'd just come from the Losee Center roof, and you think he's the assailant. And you talk to the police about it, and the police show up, and they search the area. And then when you go do cell phone extraction data or cell phone location data and tower dumps, you purposefully exclude that area? Like you almost have to draw around that area. Are you out of your mind? This is why we think he's a patsy. This is why we think there's an international or multi-agency cover-up. I'll say that. Because no single agency could do this alone. No single agency could pull this off alone. TPUSA couldn't pull this off. The Utah County Sheriff's Office couldn't pull this off. The National Guard couldn't pull this off. The FBI couldn't pull this off. The State Bureau of Investigation couldn't pull this off. The executive branch of the United States couldn't pull this off. The United States military couldn't pull this off. It requires too much help to hide certain facts, to elevate certain facts, to push a certain narrative requires cooperation from everyone. That's why we believe that there's a multi-agency cover-up. That's why we believe Tyler Robinson didn't do this or he didn't do it alone. That's why we believe there's a conspiracy. Does that make me a conspiracy theorist? I don't care what you call me. I want answers to these questions. I want the right people asking these questions. If I'm TPUSA, and I know they watch these shows or they at least get reports of these shows, probably have AI summarize the transcript if it's too late for them. Actually, it's early out there. It's only 7:12 out there your time. You guys should be asking these same questions. Why the hell didn't you get cell phone data for the one place where they thought they saw somebody? And why did he walk past what we think is his car? And why did George Zinn say he had a plan? Did he have a plan? Was George Zinn in on it? Do we need to get him charged in on this? And if George Zinn was in on it, who got George Zinn and Tyler Robinson together? That's weird. And why was there a pervert cop searching everybody? Why was he the one showing up everywhere? And did they get the extraction data from Charlie Kirk's cell phone and all the devices? Did they keep all the stuff that they asked for in the search warrant? Where's all that stuff? Like, if I'm TPUSA, these are the questions I'm asking. I want to know the answers to all these questions. This is not a situation where you can just look the other way and say, open and shut, DNA on the gun. Well, admittedly, gun was in the area. Mm-hmm. Not arguing that. Screwdriver. Yep, screwdriver. If I was going to set somebody up, I would use all those same things. I would grab one of his guns, maybe a screwdriver out of his toolbox, probably wrap it in his bath towel that he rubbed all over his butt and face, get his DNA all good and all over everything. Yeah. He's seen on camera. Well, sort of. Sort of. You remember the boyfriend looked at all 6 pictures and said, I can't definitively identify him from these pictures. And then changed his mind at the last second. He's like, yeah, maybe I can. Maybe I can. You know, they have a situation like that, I might not want the boyfriend in court testifying. I might move to block him from having to testify and having to get cross-examined. I might not call in a court reporter who would keep it fair and call it down the middle and say, you can't talk to the witness while he's testifying. Sit down, sir. Or I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Or I'm at least going to record that it's happening. Lawyers started waving hands erratically, pointing down and saying, yes, yes, yes. You want us to believe this is all on the up and up? Don't do what you're doing. Do it better. We deserve better. The people of the United States are involved in this because of the FBI investigation. Do better. We demand it. All the people of Utah are involved in this because of the SBI involvement. They demand better. Do better. Everyone in Utah County is seeking right now to put this guy to death. They demand you do better. Do better. If the state is going to have the awesome power of taking life, do better. Do better. Don't hide the ball. Don't hide search warrants. Don't have these crazy facts that don't add up and don't make sense. Don't tell us that George Zinn's cleared and all he had was a little kiddie material. Don't do that. Don't do that. Tell us he said he had a plan. Tell us what that plan was and who he planned it with. We deserve the answer to that. I'm not even going to get into what Candace showed tonight. I was going to, but I'm not going to. I may get into it another night. If you want to support the program and show how amazing you find the effort that people like Daisy put in to bring you research like she's brought you, you can buy a hat. That same design is also on a shirt. It is also on, hold on, I gotta add something here real quick. It's on a shirt. It's on a sweatshirt. There's all kinds of, oh, did it come off the screen? I didn't mean for it to. All kinds of awesome Get a Daisy merch in addition to the new decoy shirt. All great stuff. All great stuff. And so jump on there and grab some of that. Here is the sweatshirt. Real Baron Podcast on the front. Get a Daisy with a daisy on the back. That daisy's smiling, by the way. That daisy's smiling. But it's also available on a T-shirt as well. So there are lots of ways to support the program. The easiest way, cost you nothing, is just hit the like button. Don't want to get aggressive and tell you to smash it. Don't want to tell you to beat it up. Don't want to tell you to stomp on it. Just give it a tap. There's a little thumbs up button, a little tap there. If you want to subscribe, you can hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to join the program as a member, you see a lot of members commenting over the course of different nights. You can click the member button or the join button, I think it says. And for a small monthly fee, you get access to all the members' episodes in the past and all the ones coming up in the future. As long as you remain a member, you'll get access to all those in real time and archived as well. And so that's a great way to support the program as well. I do appreciate you guys being here. I am going to go through some of your comments. I think I can get through most of them. I can get through a lot of them. I don't feel good. I do plan to do a show tomorrow, but when I wake up in the morning, if I feel worse, I don't know if I'll do it because I do not feel great tonight. I hope I've held it together for you. I try to be a professional broadcaster, ladies and gentlemen. The show must go on. The show must go on. B, hope you're hanging in there after dropping your son off. Yeah, I am sad. I, too, had the task of dropping my daughter off 11 hours from home last week. It's definitely a surreal feeling. Hugs to you and Mrs. C. He's not 11 hours away, which is helpful because he's much closer than that. It's helpful. Baron, I'm praying dropping your boy off for college yesterday went well. It did. Thank you, Daisy, and all those behind the scenes for all you do. Blessings to all. And keep going, Max. Christ is King of D. We're doing our best out here, folks. We're doing our best. Hope the college drop-off went well, my B and Mrs. My B. Hope he'll be home again before you know it. Well done, Mom and Dad. Christ is King of D. Yeah, the first question, like we were getting ready to leave, I was like, when's your fall break? Like, when will I see you next? And he told me the date, and I was like, you know when I really missed him? It was last night. House was quiet. He's usually one of the last people in. And I can see on my phone when people come home, and you got to put a code in to get into our house. And I can see when people come home and what time they got in and all that. And I always look for his name, like, is he home yet? And I didn't see it. And I thought, oh, that's right. He's not coming home tonight. And it was sad to me. It was sad. Sad, sad, sad. Your Honor, we move to appoint yourself to the office of Vice Principal, effective immediately. I can only be appointed by the principal herself. August 14, the great debate, is also the feast day to St. Max. Oh, is it really? Patron saint of journalists, radio hosts, investigators, political prisoners, and pro-life. He had some views about Freemasons, that's for sure. Is it really? Is that Maximilian Kolbe? I don't think so, is it? August 14, Saint Feast Day. Yeah, Maximilian Kolbe. We have an icon of Maximilian Kolbe hanging up in our house. That's amazing. I did not know that, by the way. Go Max, indeed. Go Max. To get very angry, reader, listen to the Beefster. Every politician has blanked over the American people. I did not vote for him. He says he is in charge. Betrayal. Well, if he said that, that's not ideal. Not ideal at all. Do you think the clipped video of Charlie Kirk was cut off a waist-level explosion? From Charlie Kirk. Please keep going with the excellent shows. Christ is King indeed. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think anything happened at his waist, but I don't know. My first super chat. Work from home and look forward to listening to you every day. All the way from tiny town of Peckham, Oklahoma. I bet you guys have, what are you, Peckhamites? Peckhamanians? Peckamaniacs? That's what I would vote for. Can we be the Peckamaniacs? Oh, that hurt my head. I can't cough tonight, guys. As a Catholic woman, I could not be prouder of Candace. She showed poise, class, and an understanding of the subject at hand. It showed she was there for the truth of who killed her friend, and he was there for clicks and views. Well, she won. Mr. B, isn't it possible that someone who knows about the alleged cover-up might have such a guilty conscience that they might blow the whistle? Mikey McCoy. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, I've wondered about Mikey. I think there's a couple people with consciences, honestly. B, have you been involved in or do any cases come to mind where scene preservation, collection, and chain of evidence has been so terrible? Love you. No. No, I've not. Dude's not smart enough to sell drugs, properly became the bodyguards. Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. That was on X. Nessie reported the ground cover or platform that Charlie usually sat on was different on September 10th. Different material or something, but it was also higher than usual. I agree. I watched that. Loving the show. Thank you. Maroon or red hoodie? Oh, were you guessing what I was going to wear? You were wrong. Periwinkle. One of two. Crazy. My family and I stayed at the same hotel as Andrew and his team the night after the debate. We're from Oregon and dropping our daughter off at school. My hubby ended up having a convo with him, which irked me, by the way. Irked you at the time or just now? Now that you learned who he is, it irked you. 2 of 2. It's a darn good thing I wasn't there and hadn't watched yet. He would have felt my energy. He looked defeated and promptly went out for a smoke. I have a pic, but I won't be sharing it online. Oh, you're talking about that Andrew. See, that's why we got to call him Smoke Boy or Pickles. Because when you say Andrew, I'm thinking Andrew Colvette. Said he would have. He looked defeated and promptly went out for a smoke. Well, that's his normal demeanor. He always looks defeated. My B, how do you stop intrusive ruminating thoughts when anxious? A loved one is using again, and I can't stop my brain from spiraling into the what ifs. Oh, I don't know what works for everybody. I just know that I gave up anxiety, and I say that lightly, but I don't mean it lightly. I don't mean it lightly at all. I mean it in all seriousness. I just don't let it. I just think about eternal things. I don't know. I'm not saying that works for everybody. I'm not trying to be trite, you know. Yo, B, did you see AW's upper knuckles? No, I didn't look. Were they terrible? I bet they were. Hit that like button and subscribe. Yes, please, by all means. King B, I hope Opie didn't make you cry yesterday. At least not too much. Appreciate you and yours and this audience. Opie? Oh, you going back to Andy Griffith. Yeah, no. I didn't cry too much. Got a little misty-eyed. But Barron, since Andrew's team broke the contract, can she go after them if she wanted to? I don't know. She'd have to show damages. What do you think about Randy Fine gaining almost 11,000 votes in 10 minutes to beat Dan B today? Not only did he gain votes, Dan Bilzerian actually lost like 2,000 votes. It was 35-33 or something, and then all of a sudden it was 60-20. And Dan Bilzerian went from having 8,500 votes or something to like 6,500 votes in the next update. The hell happened there? How do you lose votes? Smoke Boy was a fried pickle when Candace was done with him. Yeah. Can we call him Cheryl? I'm talking about Cheryl Farnsworth. Glad to be here for 6 months. My IQ has definitely improved. Christ is King as always, and Jesus loves you all. Thanks, Baron and Daisy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Thanks for joining us for 6 months. I've researched the Earth displacement theory for years and knew most you covered, but the theory they may be trying to trigger it early with something like CERN blew my mind. New mega fear unlocked. I don't know why you would put anything less past them. These people are psychos. I'm only awake, because my first grandchild was just born. Couldn't think of better company to share this with at 1:30 a.m. than you, Baron. Love your number one fan, Essex, England. Well, welcome in. Welcome in the middle of the night. Hi, B. Thank you for your show tonight. I lost my father over the weekend. Your shows really helped me through this time. Thank you for everything. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry to hear that. Actually cut the back end off of my RB PJ. You don't need it. You don't need it. You just need just the edge. For most shows, just the edge. And maybe the longer interviews on the member shows. Maybe you need the whole chair. Terrell not charged with tampering of evidence. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. He was not. Please use a vinegar water with cotton rag on your forehead and leave it for 15 minutes. Reapply. You will get rid of the shakes quick. I'm not shaking. I just don't feel good. I feel terrible. Like really bad. Overwhelming evidence was destroyed or ignored. Of Tyler Robinson's guilt. Why would they destroy or ignore that? I didn't follow that. In Tucker's leaked emails, he called Trump a demon. and then endorsed him. I believe in you and Candace in our community. Why isn't Tucker involved in this community? Did he ever say those were valid? Like those were the real emails? I don't know. I don't know how that worked. Thank you, Baron. Any advice on staying sane and grounded amidst all the insanity? Yeah, put your mind on eternal things. Some days I find myself wishing the internet would just shut down. But I know that so much good has come from us staying informed. Well, it's not going to be uninvented, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, think about eternal things. Don't get too tied up in the here and now. This world is not our home. Shrimp fried rice for dinner. It was great. That is all. Sounds delicious. I'm starving. Love you, but I fear you and Candace are ruining my dating life. What are your hobbies? Well, I watch a lot of blank stare, immediate incompatibility. Grateful for all you do, even if it makes me a weirdo. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, you need to pick a higher IQ data set. I can't help it that you're going after the wrong people. That's not a me problem. That's a you problem. There are high IQ men out there. I love the nicknames you give people. P.S. Owen Benjamin was on riffing a song. I told him to sing about you, and he did. 1 hour, 15 minutes, or I posted and tagged you and Daisy. Hope you feel better. Well, thank you. That's very kind. B, with so much evil in the world, how are you sure there is a God? I sincerely appreciate your answer to this, as I have deep respect for you. Christ is king indeed. It's almost precisely because of the evil that you would believe there's a God. Because without a God, how would you even know what evil is? Like, dogs don't know what evil is. Cockroaches don't know what evil is. You know, what's evil to a cockroach? The Orkin man? I mean, how do they don't even know what that means. Mosquitoes don't know what evil is. You know, if the fogger truck rolls through the neighborhood, they don't know what that means. They just fall over dead. It's the fact that there's a God at all that infuses in your body a conscience that is distinct from all other living life that gives you some idea of what evil is. Without that, without God, there's no conscience. Without conscience, there's no sense of evil. So kind of how I look at it. That might be a little bootstrapping for you logicians, but I'm all right with it. Stopped watching Shooter with Marky Mark to be here. The parallels to TR case are uncanny. Everyone should watch it. Miss you, cousin. Bubba Baron. Christ is king indeed. I've seen that movie. It's excellent. Marky Mark's great. Marky Mark's a good guy, man. He's on like prayer apps and does daily rosaries and stuff. He's a cool guy. Have you gone back to CO's debate video yet? I think so. Did I not like it the other day? I'm bad. Like, if you don't tell me to like something, I forget. That's why I say it so often. Let me look. The debate video. 5.1 million views. I just liked it. 215,000 likes. Do you know what percentage of YouTube channels ever get a single video with even 215,000 views? Much less 215,000 likes? It's minuscule. That's insane. 5.1 million views? That is ludicrous. Ludicrous. So yes, the answer is yes, I have. Somewhere a law school professor is adding this entire year to the syllabus. Thank you for being you. Love you. We didn't use a lot of contemporary stuff. We used contemporary stuff with Crawford versus Washington because that came out while I was in law school. Thank you for being here, VP. Get better. Herb tea for cold. Thank you. We have plenty of tea. Lilac purple. Called it. Baron, look up the Catholic priest murdered in Humboldt County, St. Bernard Church, reciting in 2014. I was baptized at that church. So sad. Well, why would I want to look up something sad that happened 12 years ago? I'll take your word for it. Baron. Her pickle juice is good for potassium levels. Maybe try a swig of Wickles. Hope you'll feel better soon. Much love from a Texas Dim. I have Wickles, but I also have Bubbies, which are like a fermented pickle. I might get a couple swigs of that. Do I have low potassium? Is that the problem? Rand, thank you for all you do. Prayers for your son. You and Mrs. C. Love you all. What are your thoughts on SB saying about Israeli pagers? Who is SB? Coincidence? More ominous? Your thoughts?
Smoke boy.
Smoke boy. Smoke boy.
I love how it's an abbreviation now.
Yeah, I didn't know that. My thoughts about Smoke Boy, I don't even know what he said, that they were loud and produced a lot of smoke. You tell me, those explosives were put in those pagers like a decade and a half ago or some long time ago. We've not improved any technology in them? Nonsense. I can only imagine your children are great humans if they're as amazing as you and your wife. Good job. My husband is going to be TR for Halloween with his decoy shirt ordered today. Christ is king indeed. A great Halloween outfit, boys and girls. You'll be the talk of the town. You'll need a Hurley hat and some sunglasses. Good sir, feel better, and thanks for joining us even though you feel puny. I realize we are clearly working with two cases, TR's and the person who murdered Charlie Kirk. That's a good way to put it. How will this result in justice for Charlie Kirk? I don't know. We'll just keep working. Did anyone see Body Language Ghost? Assessment of the big debate? She was spot on, and it was hilarious. No, I didn't see that. You'll feel better about your son leaving soon enough. I doubt it. I liked him. He's a good kid. Thanks for all you do. Sending lots of love and a big warm hug from Mexico. I'll allow it from Mexico because it's warm down there. Well, it's warm here now, actually. Quick observation in the video of the Washington County Sheriff's Office, it looks like he puts his phone in his left pocket, similar to the video on the stairs. Except that wasn't his phone, that was his wallet. We zoomed in, isolated frames, cleared up the image a little bit. That clearly was a wallet. I can't remember. Do you know if Charlie's cell phone was ever examined and extraction of information done? I realized today Erica had it so soon after Charlie died. I hope you watched the program. We talked about it. B, 2 Hurley hats. Yet Twiggs doesn't recognize the hat at all. Also, your thoughts on Glenn Beck's connection to nearly everyone who also states he knew Charlie Kirk since 17 and Ben Shapiro since 13. So many questions. I don't have thoughts on the last part. I have no idea about that, so I've not developed any thoughts on that. I think the hat he was wearing in the black outfit was not a Hurley hat. It doesn't look like the Hurley logo to me, so maybe that's why he didn't recognize it, because he was a Hurley man, which, again, would lend evidence to the fact that it was not Tyler Robinson. My son is only 9 right now. I politely ask not to remind me of said day. Jokes aside, I hope he finds his calling in life and excels in his new path. Yeah, me too. Where are other engraved bullets if he only fired off one? And did they find a shell on scene that was engraved? Otherwise, BS. Answer to both those questions was revealed during the preliminary hearing. The shell was recovered from the from the rifle itself, and the other bullets were also in a magazine in the rifle. So yeah, they were there. My B, great news. The Helen P. Bunyan Middle School debate team is having a bake sale to raise money to debate Pickle Man. Go Max. Christ is king indeed. Helen
Wait, is this? I was gonna say this. This has to be a joke.
She has her own middle school now?
The Bunyan Middle School.
Yeah. She has her own. I don't want to go to Bunyan Middle.
Neither do I.
Certainly don't want to go to Bunyan High. I don't want to know where that is. Humble host, Baron. Thank you. Twiggs pointed out he's not seen that hat. Love you, B. That's correct. Christ is king indeed. Baron, listening live from my forklift at work. Using only the edge of my seat, of course. Keep going, Max. Christ is king indeed. You don't need more than the edge of the forklift seat. But be safe. It's a forklift. Do some damage with one of those. Imagine all the attendees at the 1-year party rocking decoy shirts and Candace's "This is my second favorite shirts." Well, that would be unfortunate for them. That would be unfortunate. Did TR go back to the apartment after he allegedly took the shot? If not, how did the shoes get back there? Hold on. The shoes may not have gotten back there. I think what we're saying is there's a third pair of shoes because he was wearing the shoes or a pair of shoes when he went to the sheriff's office. But yes, the answer is he did go back. That's been established. That's long been established. Why is Flock silent now, but not any other time? Why did TR use the RR on his 14-hour day of driving? I don't know what the RR is. What's RR?
Restroom?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Side of the road, restaurant, rest stop. My B and Mrs. C, my kids have started leaving the nest this year as well. No one talks about this ache. No one prepares you for the silence. 2 of 3 gone. Prayers for you both and all the kids. It's not silent here. We still have 6 at home. There's nothing silent about our house, ever. The only time it's silent is when all the kids are at the ball field. Like if there's 3 baseball games going on and the other kids are there cheering them on. The other, the older kids are at work. Then the house quiets down a little bit. And like the 3 hours I'm on air. They're pretty good about that. But prayers for you. Oh, hold on. I went out of order. My Spanish worker ends sentences sometimes with the word yet. I don't tell him to say yet. Very interesting. Doesn't sound like Shakespeare, but he needs to work on his English. Oh. Are you in Pennsylvania by chance? Baron, I just want to thank you and everyone for the prayers. My knee surgery 1 week ago, and while painful, I'm determined to do all the therapy. Christ is King indeed. And don't complain about it like Moon Goddess does. Just man up and do it. I have 2 wooden boxes. Edge! I don't know that we needed to know about your wooden boxes. Giving you the Gary blink. Your commentary on the wooden box is equally as good as Erica's in the curtains. I was holding a vigil last night. Keep up the great work. Christ is King indeed. Well, we don't know what's in there. We just know he's scared his mom's going to see it. Why reassemble a golf club bag on campus? Not sus. I have no idea what that means. Lance was blue backpack Patsy, and that is how he got immunity. I mean, I'm not going to fight you on it. Could the belongings in the backpack be the reason Lance time one-time immunity in exchange for statement? All good questions. Was a bomb squad activated after the blue backpack was found to sweep the property for additional devices? No one makes just one of those things. That's a good question. If they found that, wouldn't they think by reasonable inference there were additional materials on the scene and that they needed to secure the environment? Or are they just still like going through the wooden box, seeing what kind of pervert they're dealing with? Candace needs top spot on wall. Trump was alive and she has earned it. Oh, that's a good point. Trump was alive. But when he went in there, he was no longer president and he was old. I've heard Candace say that it was normal to hand phones to assistants. So Mikey or Nate likely had it. Yeah, but they should have still given it to the police. My guess, furry boyfriend wrote all those texts, and it's his wooden box, not Tyler's. Love your show, Baron. Well, maybe. Baron, love your show. Can you discuss the guys who jumped over the table, grabbed something, passed to a guy stuffed in his pocket, walked away? Discussed that like 130 shows ago. It didn't happen. When will the defense gain access to? I don't mean to be dismissive, but that's been established for like 8 months. That did not happen. He just slid over the table. Nothing in his hand before. There was nothing on the table where he slid. We've slowed down in super slow-mo. Nothing was handed off. It looked like that maybe there was supposed to be a handoff, but nothing was handed off. Is there a specific deadline following the request for such information in Utah courts? Great show. Christ is King. Indeed. Well, there's no official discovery timeline yet, because the preliminary hearing's not over. I mean, the prosecution still has an opportunity to file a reply brief to the response brief, and then the judge will make a final determination after the oral summation that's scheduled for September 1st. So, on or after September 1st, then it will close the preliminary stage, and the case will either be over or it will be bound over to a jury trial. And that's when the discovery disputes will fire up. Regarding items seized, what about inner ears, a pack, jeans, necklace, ring? Inner ears? The hell's an inner, like his cochlea?
I think she probably means like an earpiece, but I don't think he had that. Maybe just the security guards.
Inner ear. I'm thinking like the little bones that keep you balanced, like your eardrum. Like, let's hope they didn't seize that. If it was seized, let's hope it was the medical examiner and it was properly preserved. I don't want Detective Thompson in there with a pair of scissors. All right, let's just dial it back a little bit, guys. The rest of it, should have all been preserved. Interesting that this new UVU security fisheye camera footage doesn't look horizontally compressed like the parking garage. I suspect there's a reason for that. I'm not going to speculate openly, but I think there's a reason. I think all these people are going to look awfully foolish when that reason is revealed. If I recall, it came out very quickly that Zinn admitted it was his plan, but he was being paid to do it. $10,000 rings a bell. I can't remember who sourced this, but it was early in the news. I'm sure Daisy can find it. Christ is King indeed. I don't know that we ever heard a dollar figure on it. I think it was Candace who said maybe that she had talked to somebody at the hospital. I honestly can't remember. I don't want to attribute that to her because I don't remember. But I remember somebody talked to somebody at the hospital, and one of the hospital workers said that he confessed that he had been paid to do it. But that was never like an official report. France in the crowd on 9/10. Tulsi ignoring what was the biggest bombshell in Candace and AW debate. Tulsi, Kent, Bondi, Bongina all resign. That's a good point. I hadn't considered that they all resigned. Yeah, it's interesting. So the France in the crowd lead comes from Candace, who said she heard from a high-ranking government official in France who told her that the French Foreign Legion was on the ground that day, and that she turned it over to Tulsi Gabbard's office and the White House. But that was never followed up on, that I'm aware of. You're a pillar to the biggest conspiracy of our lifetime, and I'm thankful God guided your life to this exact point in time. We needed your lawyer perspective and CO's friendship with Charlie Kirk and journalism. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you. I've told Mrs. Coleman, I feel like my whole life, everything I've ever done kind of brought me to this show at this time. Hello, dear Baron. Zinn told hospital staff he was supposed to be paid, but did not know by whom. So are we to believe Robinson hired him? I don't know. I don't. Crisis King indeed. I don't know the answer to that. And again, when we say he told them, all we can say is it was reported he told them. I don't know that it's a fact. I don't know that it's been written down any kind of verified statement that he told them that. I think it's just there was a report from somebody. Shawnee, holy mackerel, Shawnee. Wow. Thank you. Great show. I'm sending you and Mrs. Barron a big, warm, mushy combined jury hug for your courage and confidence. And knowing you've equipped your son for the next steps in his life, you should feel proud. I am unbelievably proud. And I know he's prepared. I mean, he's a super sharp kid. And he has passions in life. And the way he talks about them, he's a little bit like me. Like, he doesn't halfway do anything. So if he's going to do something, he's going to go all out. And he has some things he wants to study, and he already knows all there is to know about it. I'm not sure he may get bored. I don't know. But he is a study machine. He loves to read. I think George Zinn had young things, so he purposefully would be locked up, no questions asked from media, while being paid to serve time along with his part of the plan. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Geofence tech is sus. Could this be used to manipulate compromised persons? Follow money, my B. Lots of coincidences, data centers, flock, etc. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think it's horrific. I mean, I feel like at this point they could frame anybody. I don't feel like anybody's safe right now. Baron, how would TR have known if he were fleeing a crime scene, they'd grab some old guy? Was he keeping up with the news in between text to Twiggs? I've always wondered. Christ is king, and you are golden. Well, if we're to believe the texts are real, the text didn't start until 11 o'clock that night. It was long known that they had grabbed some old guy. I mean, within an hour, everybody knew George Zinn's name. Newsweek reported George Zinn said he yelled so that the shooter could get away on 9/17/25. Who, George Zinn, man, accused fake Charlie Kirk confession. Yeah, I believe that. But again, the report in the news is different from a police officer swearing that that's what happened and quoting Zinn in the sworn statement. Zinn came to UVU on TPUSA bus on 9/10. I saw a live interview of an older couple who were on the same bus. That interview has disappeared. I've not been able to find it since. Go Max Baron, Christ King indeed. Is that a fact? That's a new development. Daisy, you think we could try to find that?
I saw that come in.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard it, but I did write it down. So hopefully we can.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Try to run it. We'll try
That'd be
to run
cool.
it down. We'll try. I'm confused about Harrison's tweet from mid-August. Why hasn't he been interviewed or pressed on such a massive revelation? Why isn't Candace talking more about that or talking to Alex Jones and team? Harrison reported in December that he had spoken or he had turned over that information to the feds, I think. Because he was on an X space with Candace and people were pressing him. And then like a week or so later, I think he said he had turned it over.
Yeah, and he said nobody.
And let me tell you, it's not a big secret. Behind the scenes, everyone knows who it was. So,
Yeah, Harrison said that nobody came to him.
yeah. No one followed up with him. Okay. I'll say this. I've talked to the guy. Like, I don't want to, I'm not allowed to say who it is. I'm not, but I know who it is. And I know how he heard it. So I think it's the worst kept secret in town. You rock, Baron. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you. It's such a setup, in my opinion. Great work, Baron and Daisy. We're doing our best out here. Did any eyewitness mention Decoy Boy? Also, in the pics, I don't know who that is. In the pics from Charles McClintock Wilson. Watches show 8 minutes difference, all while holding George Zinn. I don't know. Seems weird to me. Maybe they didn't set their watch. I don't know. Charlie Kirk gets threatening text from donor after Tucker's speech. Those who curse Israel will be cursed September 8th. We paid Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk. Okay. All that I believe is accurate. Rogue actors could have replicated his phone. Doing so reliably and without detection is non-trivial on modern devices and is usually part of a broader high-resource operation rather than a simple copy the phone step. I agree. I think it's a high-level operation. You're not going to get any argument from me. Merch idea for T-shirt. All you need is the edge of your seat. Yeah, you don't need the whole seat. I hope you experience that from time to time. Yo, be wrong. Norm Macdonald's my favorite comic person that ever lived. I know you're a fan of stand-up as well. Who's your favorite? I think you've got great comedy instincts and could easily be a comic. My favorite of all time? Gosh. You almost have to go by genre. I do love stand-up comedy. I think there was something. Now, I don't agree with all of his takes, but I think there was something to George Carlin that was like he could make a long political rant. And he was kind of a populist ranter. And that's maybe why I'm so attracted to his comedy. He could make a long rant about politics. It might not be funny, but it was really amusing. And then he would hit you with a punchline that just slayed you. So that was good. If you're going like slapstick and music type comedy, I like Tim Wilson. I thought he was funny. He's dead. I wasn't into the Andrew Dice Clay stuff. Sam Kinnison's too easy of a pick. He had the great HBO special, but then his follow-up stuff wasn't as good. I think he fell into the problem a lot of rappers fall into. They spend their whole life writing their first album, and then they don't have another album. And so they only have like one good album, then they put out a couple garbage albums and they go away. A lot of comics are that way, I think. They have one good hour-long set. They do that set. They've worked on it their whole life. It's all their best material. It absolutely slays. And then their follow-up stuff's just pretty average. So Sam Kinison, I mean, I think that one set he did, the HBO special, may be one of the greatest hours in comedy history. I will say the funniest I've seen live was Theo Vaughn. I saw him at the Ryman a few years ago. And there was like the first 30 or 45 minutes, I couldn't catch a breath. He was nonstop, and he was a master working on his craft. It was a short notice show. I think he sold tickets like 3 days before the show started. My wife got the notice and looked at me. She's like, "You want to go?" We bought tickets on the spot, went. He killed it. It was amazing. Brian Regan, if you're going clean comedy, Brian Regan is funny, particularly the older stuff. He's very, very funny. As he ages, the physical comedy sort of wanes a little bit with age. That's a good question. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I never liked the Bob Hope type comedy. Wasn't a big fan of that stuff. Who's the wild and crazy guy from Saturday Night Live? Wasn't a big fan of his comedy. Steve, whatever his name was. Anyway, good question. Thank you. That's off the beaten path, and I enjoyed that quite a bit. Did TR have his phone with him when he was at that police station? Don't. According to his family, no. According to his family, he did not.
I think he did.
Not according to his family. They said they took it when they turned him in.
I thought Brian Davis testified to that, but we'll double check that for sure.
Okay. Well, they could be wrong. Prayers for your son while off at college and prayers for your family. Thank you for making my long drive home tonight so much better as I listen to you. Even bigger thanks since you're sick. Christ is king indeed. I just hope I sleep well. This feels like one of those you could sleep off, but you have to get a really good night's sleep. Thank you, Baron. May God bless everyone here. Thank you. That's very kind. Baron, max out on black seed oil capsules and 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C. This coupled with the kiss from God will fix you. I'll cover the cost of the health goods. You've got it covered with God. Christ is king indeed. I've already taken the black seed oil twice today. I don't want to overdose, make your blood too thin. I don't need to throw an aneurysm. Barron, first-time caller, long-time listener. First, George's comments indicate there was no lone gunman. Agreed. TRLT text when they could have occurred if his phone was confiscated upon turning himself in. Yeah, that's what we're checking on, that second part. That building and rooftop was not the original location. Remember, it was supposed to penetrate right side of his neck, parking garage building. I don't remember it was supposed to penetrate the right side of his neck. Barron's voice is soothing, but the information is steaming hot. Whoa. Settle down. Fighting, falling asleep, also. Football season's here. Go Iowa Hawkeyes. And Indiana. Christ is king indeed. I'll allow it, Carrie. I'll allow it. Just this once. December 12th, 2025. Erica Kirk on Glenn Beck. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that, and I have a cell phone warrant seizure of phone. Yeah, we covered that the other night. How did Tyler, talking to Lance, know that the feds would search everything? Strange to say, leave it alone. The feds will search everything. I mean, I assumed if he was going to turn himself in that he was going to get searched. I would assume that. Wait, I'm recalling a politician who was supposed to attend but canceled prior to the event, and something about his alleged security details scouting the area, not knowing the politician canceled. Yeah, that was Senator Mike Lee. Candace covered that a few weeks ago. While security never sets up, they did this day, and they even sent Charlie a picture of what his view would be. Looks like they set up the shot to be sure. Well, that's your opinion, Lovey. I'll allow you to have opinion. Thank you to you all of you working so hard to uncover the truth. It could happen to anyone. Keep going, Max. That's the scary part. Like, I'm afraid to leave the house. Got 4 texts. Some Scotland, Christ King, Truth and Love's the answer. Roger, thank you. The others kept repeating they got Charlie, but not Georgie boy. He said him, Assailant, got away. I don't know what that means. Please get your color analysis done for a member show. What the hell's a color analysis? What does it mean?
I'll send you a video. It's like somebody they pick your color and you get like a palette of colors that makes you it makes you glow.
I don't want to glow. I don't want to glow.
I'm gonna send you a video.
No, I'm not glowing. No, don't send it. That sounds weird. I don't need to glow. I'm wearing periwinkle tonight. I don't need a color analysis. So TR confesses to Lance via text. Then when asked, he says he probably won't go to jail. So weird. No, he said he would go to jail. Yeah, I think you got that wrong. What was reason given for driving CK to further level 3? Yeah, I don't think they gave one. Catching up late, but the amount of times you said backpack had me rolling. If I thought this was a drinking game, I wouldn't be able to finish dinner. Thank you for the laughs. Christ is king indeed. We don't encourage playing drinking games here because I repeat myself a lot. And if you pick the wrong word, you're cooked. Cooked. Maybe it was a Gumby barrel that was draped over the edge. This case to me is cooked for the state. I hope Robinson isn't unalived in jail. Yeah, you and me both. I don't know what a Gumby barrel is, though. I drive by a quick quack car wash in Phoenix this past weekend and laughed out loud hearing you say it. Say it again. Say what? Quick quack. It's a great car wash. Got nothing but love for the quick quack. TR wouldn't have any variables if, say, BN or his ilk was filling him in on the plan. Who did he meet? And where was BN? Well, we don't know. We don't know where BN was. He doesn't know where he was. Which is a little weird if we're being honest. I mean, I know where I am most days. I know where I was all day today. Saw a video of roof. It's all gravel and there's a lip on the edge of the building, so wouldn't even be able to see off roof from that far back. Slop. Well, I mean, at some point you could get high enough, but yeah, from the video we saw, you're probably right. Mississippi, 1964, had nothing on LDS Utah, 2025. Okay. Fair enough. Oh, no, it's doing that thing where it won't let me click the next message. There it goes. Top-notch show. One of your best. Totally worth messing up my circadian rhythms for. It's 3 a.m. here. Texas. Oh, thanks for all you and Daisy's stellar work. Christ is king indeed. Get some sleep, Helen. We don't need you out there dragging tomorrow. The texts seem like some are real, some not. More likely he was confessing to involvement. He doesn't think he would go to jail for whatever he did. Am I crazy? I thought he said he would go to jail. I I'll have to look at that again later.
He definitely
say?
did. He said there's,
Yeah.
he almost literally said, there's no way I'm not going to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I thought I was going crazy. I was like, how sick am I? Thanks, Barron, for giving Charlie Kirk a voice from the grave. I'm a progressive Democrat voter, but this case matters to me. It's not about sides. It's about exposing evil. Charlie did not deserve this. Agreed, he didn't. Barron, keep up the good work. I feel they think the American people are stupid. We are not. I feel we're just one more lie away from losing it. Christ is king indeed. I don't think they think we're stupid. I don't think they care what we think, and that's a keen distinction. Hi, Daisy should augment her mapping skills with ArcGIS Pro. You can access near-map images directly from the program. It's robust. Well, we don't need any more tools. We got plenty of tools in the wooden box. No, I mean in the internet. The internet. Could we please get a maroon decoy tank top or hoodie? I'm just not a t-shirt kind of gal. Much love from Boston. Christ is king indeed. Let's give Nurse Casey a break. We got 4 new items up today. We could work on that. Barron, why are we not more worried about TR's defense team sandbagging it? Wouldn't that be a logical base for the feds to cover in any conspiracy? I didn't say I wasn't worried about it. I don't see definitive evidence of it, but I'm not worried. I mean, I worry. Person that was there on the 8th was scouting out the best shot, and then he told them where to put up the tent. That's dark. Me again. Barron, do you suppose TR called in advance to politely request they raise CK on a platform so he could have better clearance and aim? No, because I don't think it was Tyler Robinson. There was a witness that stated someone was on the roof scouting it out days before the assassination. Well, now we know probably about what day and time that was. Love UB, but question, why would Tyler have seen the messages of confession on his phone if LT sent them from TR's iMac? Oh, would Tyler have seen? I may be wrong, but not an Apple fan. Go Max, Christ is king indeed. Well, I think he would have if he would have been looking for them. Like if he knew he was in a conversation with Lance, then yeah, he would have. But I mean, what can you do at that point? Or maybe they told him, keep your phone at home. We don't want people to know where you are. And then they handed the phone to someone else who drove it all around town. Maybe stuck it in their pocket and ran up on the roof. This isn't TPUSA's money, but it'll spin just the same. Yeah, that was funny. IMO. All involved were bribed, threatened, or both. Or more. AK told CO 910 she and TC were on a list and lay low. It was supposed to be you. What did 2025 CK, TC, and CO have in common? Venture a guess. Pickles? I'm afraid to say it after what Daisy sent me earlier. Fort Huachuca on the phone. Pinging on 8th September? Maybe. Ooh. Interesting. That was the evening of September 8th. Would that they would. Oh. Reporting from Outback, Australia. You can live there? Smoke Boy wanted positive evidence, so we checked. The Roos have now returned a unanimous verdict. Dead set wanker. Absolute flog. The evidence is overwhelming. I hope those aren't ugly words in Australian. I don't speak Australian. Wanker? TR's car is new enough they should have done a warrant for a Burla forensic exam. It's like a cell phone exam, but for the black box of the car. Well, we did a show on that. They actually did. Destiny live stream, phone call still bothers me. It needs to be investigated at least, in my humble opinion. Christ is king indeed. Indeed. Wasn't the suspicious person who claimed he saw Senator Lee's security there on the 8th? UVU reported this. Was that the 8th? I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to make a note of it here.
I think it was the night before.
That's what I thought. I thought it was the 9th.
The 9th, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was the 9th, but I made a note. We'll look at it. Baron, longtime jury member, first time super chatter. Welcome to the club. My fiance and I tune into your show daily. You're doing the Lord's work. Christ is king indeed. P.S. Could you please give a quick shout out to my future brother-in-law, Evan P.? He's a big fan of yours. I'm going to assume it's Evan P. and not Evamp, because that would be weird. But Evan, howdy. Wasn't there a bomb threat made to the hospital, which was the reason patients were transferred to the other hospital? Backpack found at house. Interesting. I don't know about a bomb threat. Did we ever find out who was posing as Charlie's security 24 to 48 hours prior to the Big Bang? According to Candace, September 8th search warrant feels connected. I don't think that was the story. I think it was supposed to be Senator Lee's security. Baron, why don't they investigate the computer in the car? They did. Yeah, they did. We are in good. I'm not being short, but I covered it in a couple of comments earlier, and we covered it. We did a whole show on it. It was months ago, but we did it, and they did. We are in good versus evil situation in our world today. Thank you and Daisy for all your hard work. Rest up and feel better. Christ is king, indeed, indeed. Might be one of the things that piques my interest. Raspberry Pi chip they keep mentioning. I'm somewhat tech savvy. In my opinion, it's not a common thing normal people carry. I.e., my theory, they are possibly part of a group of secret people. So I actually made the mistake on a show one time of talking about Raspberry Pi devices. And I mentioned that they were weirdos who used Raspberry Pi devices. And I got an onslaught of comments from people who said, I use a Raspberry Pi and I'm not a weirdo. And I didn't want to have the discussion at that time, so I just let them have it. But we know. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't say that. That'd be ugly. TR stated parents tried to contact the lawyer. Closed. Was there a timestamp voicemail with law office that might shed light on if he was already in custody? I don't know. It's a good question. Has anyone seen? I don't know how I would get it. I mean, you guys asked me these questions that I would need subpoena power to get, and I don't have it. Has anyone heard from Mikey McCoy or Dan Flood these last few months? Mikey McCoy has popped up here and there in the background, but no one's heard from Dan Flood, I don't believe. Yes.
I was just your last comment. Somebody asked me if I could geofence Erica's phone.
Yeah, precisely. Taking our oldest to college soon, too. Bittersweet. Sending you and Mrs. Coleman love. Thank you and good luck. It's not easy. My first supper. Please look into the ARC network. First supper. Only 1 day old? I don't know what ARC network is. Baron, long-time jury member, first-time super chatter. My fiance. Oh, I already read that. Did you donate twice because you don't know how super chats work? Thank you. Your next one's on me. Love from Australia. Great show and work. Always doing it with integrity, great wit, and humor. Keep it up. I like how you put the U in there just to rub it in my face. You're Australian. Not that I want to be Australian, but you know what I mean, like pointing it out. I'm kidding. You guys spell it weird or that way. Baron, we love you. Please be careful. Number one fan in Queen Creek, Arizona. Get better. Christ is king indeed. Keep your head up in Queen Creek. Heard it's crazy over there. At college, Parents' Weekend should be in October or September. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Between your occasional deep voice and beard scratch, it's like a little postcard sent from heaven by my dad. Christ is king and God is good. That's very kind of you. I hope his memory's a blessing. People say that. That sounds trite, but I genuinely mean it. Baron, long time. Did you send 3? Your next 2 are on me. Hey, B, I think CR was part of a blind op roped along for an operation he believed he was part of that was different than the actual. Believed he was recruited for a leftist stunt and all the decoys too. I kind of agree with you. I'm skipping around to catch up and thought the hat said, get a patsy. Maybe that can be our second favorite hat. Get a patsy would be good. Baron and Daisy, you continue to do amazing work. This is the best show in town with the current panic about flock cameras. You would think we have more evidence than a fubulary stairwells. Christ is Lord. I agree with you. We've asked that question 100 times. Why no flock cameras? Video of TR at the sheriff's office looks condensed. That couch is tiny for a 2-seater. If you compare TR to that couch, it would only seat him. And I know of no single chair have 2 cushions. Well, it's behind him, and cameras do weird things. But maybe. GBC, TP Ugly has become a cesspool of moral decadence, intellectual dishonesty, and shameless hypocrisy. A gaggle of big dummies. Christ is king indeed. Ivan, gaggle's not used enough. That's a good word. Claiming number 1 fan in one thaggy. Is that a real word? One thaggy? I'll allow it. One thaggy, Australia. My grandson just moved to Dubai, Paris. to study hardest goodbyes. Thoughts with you. E-birthday, 22 November. JFK assassinated. Christ is King indeed. Her birthday may not be November 22nd. It may be November 20th. Her parents don't know. It's a little weird that way. Yeah, good luck to your grandson, though. That sounds fun. That sounds like a fun adventure. Like, if you're not going to do that when you're young, you'll never do it again. So, bon voyage. You said Paris, you know. Wonthaggy. I'm sure it's a lovely place. Big spiders, maybe, and kangaroos. But other than that, it's lovely. Hi, B. First time chatter ever. And I came here to say thank you. And I miss Charlie. Yeah, Amanda. I think that's the one thing the TPUSA people forget the most, is that the reason people are still following this case nearly a year later is because a lot of people really love Charlie. And I think they miscalculated that. I think they thought they would sweep it under the rug, put him on a poster, Shlomo Pearl, and off we go. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I think 9/1 is a date of tentative ruling, I think. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Oh, Valhalla checked in. Chat. Oh, we're chatting. Lilac looks good on you, B-Dog. Feel better. It's not lilac. It's periwinkle. Come on. Don't insult me like that. Periwinkle. Lilac? Come on. I wouldn't do you like that, Ivan. You the man. Oh, you the man. Yeah, you the man, Roz the barber. My barber's a woman, but you're the man. You're the man. Hey, Baron, I'm a Canadian nana of 6. Don't you think the defense can prove it all BS by getting all the flock cameras? Seems simple. No. Christ is King indeed. Yes. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know where the flock cameras were placed on September 10th. I don't know which direction he traveled. I don't know the answer to that. You would think he would be picked up on a lot of them. He was picked up on at least one license plate reader. We learned that tonight. I sent you an email months ago about the elderly couple interview. I will resend it. The interview was cut short. They moved people off the field. Oh, good. That'll be easy to find. Daisy, we've got it. It's in the email. Yeah, but why the word feds if it wasn't a federal case? Why would they be the ones searching? Oh, that's a good question. A lot of people use the word fed to mean government operative. They don't really mean federal government G-man agent. You know, they mean just law enforcement, the feds. Nurse Casey, can we please get an I don't know what that means merch? Love you all. That's definitely on the list. Not sure when that'll come. Fit Cali chick. I almost read that wrong. I can't see your picture, but you don't look like what I almost said. I believe you. But yeah, that's on the list. It's coming your way, Fit Cali chick. Now, cell phones can work without SIM card. All cell companies have that service. They can make a cell work anywhere. You're right. All you have to do is call them and say, I want to use this phone. And it starts working. I'll just say, in 20 years, never sick for more than 4 hours. Those dang essential oils. Yet if you go high mass, they do not still bless with frankincense. They do where I go. Some parishes still do it. Halfway through your highly entertaining shows, thank you. Have you read Prayer for Owen Meany? Perhaps off topic, do you have a single brother friend? Christ is King indeed. I don't have a single brother, but I have a single friend. He's good, too. Good-looking man, fit. He's a catch. Why, you interested? I'll do Baron's matchmaker. You just tell me what you're looking for. You need a 4? I can find a 4. Need a 7? I got you covered. Need a 9.5? Well, pantry's pretty bare when you get up that high, but we'll do what we can. We'll scour. Christ is King indeed. No, I've not read that book. I've never heard of it. Baron, as much as we appreciate you read our super chats, please get some rest and feel better. Nurse Casey, come get him. Christ is King indeed. That's a good question. I should have just called Nurse Casey and be like, what the hell's going on with me? What do I need to take? Black seed oil and vitamin C? Alp? Phones now saved to clouds. Losing irrelevant. Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't considered that. Sorry I'm late. This is where we register to vote, right? Made sure not bring my ID so we can keep this line of moving. I'm very confused. I have no idea what that meant. None. Marin and Daisy, thank you for another great episode. Was there gunshot residue in Tyler Robinson's car? Christ is king indeed. We don't know the answer to that, but we know they got a warrant for exactly that. So I'm assuming they conducted the test. I don't know why they wouldn't have. People on X reporting Haiti's spy plane just flew over Candace's and Barron's Furman Files post. Yeah, that was the disturbing message I got. You guys wondered what that was. Did I just catch a Haiti spy plane flying over Candace during her show? I noticed a luxury jet flying abnormally low, pulled up flight radar that just happened to be a Hades aircraft. Not making any claims, but stay frosty. Yeah, that's crazy. Looks like it was in Nashville. I'm going to look it up. I know what the tail number is. I'm looking it up as we speak. Oh. Then it went to Killeen, Texas. Yeah, it sure did fly over her house, or close. So it flew in on the 18th at 6:51 p.m. last night. And it flew out today at, that was today, 6:51 p.m. And it flew out at 7:08. Is that right? Yeah. I mean, it didn't go right. I don't want to give too much away. It didn't go right over anyone's house. Certainly not mine. Nor hers. But it was close. It was too close for comfort, I'll tell you that. That's crazy. I mean, that is crazy talk there. It flew right over my house on the way into town. I mean, a couple of miles maybe at most. While I was on the air. Y'all, I didn't send those text messages. I don't know what they sent, but it wasn't me. It wasn't me. That's crazy. Thank you. How would TR have known police detained a crazy old man, confessed to the shooting if he was Spider-Maning down the side of the building at the moment? Yeah, but he didn't send that text for another 10 hours. So he could have figured it out in those 10 hours. Baron, did you notice that the video you showed us of the intersection of Campus Drive and 800 South, you can see a person walk up to TR car and then back away once it pulls off? Did you notice that person? Yeah, I even know his name. His name is Officer Goforth. They testified about it during the hearing. So, yeah, we're aware of that. He's the one that captured the partial plate. Whatever happened with the people who showed up to UVU the night before to warn them? Hope you feel better, and thanks for all you do. We don't know. The Mr. and I are about to become grandparents for the first time tonight. Pray for our daughter and our son-in-law and our soon-to-be grandson. Christ is king indeed. I will certainly pray for that. Let's see here. I know Mrs. Coleman was on call. I'm making sure she's not out there while Hades planes are flying around. Speaking of babies being born. Wanker equals wanker is a common vulgar slang insult used to describe someone who is arrogant, self-important, pretentious, and or generally unpleasant. That sounds like an unpleasant one. I mean, you guys nailed it. I mean, you guys have a way with words down there. Down under. Feds, it's a colloquial thing. Yeah. For Mrs. Coleman's new minivan, I hope a Hot Wheels version will do. I don't even know if you can get a Hot Wheels for $5 these days, but we'll try. I'll let her know. I'll let her know. Next time I'm at Tractor Supply, I'll pick her up a little minivan. I will take him. Oh, Julie Beard is ready. Hey, you got competition, whoever that other girl was. I got 2 people fighting over him. Yeah, the upside is you live close to me. Assuming you move here. You can't have him if you got to leave because, he doesn't want to move. So you're going to get toasted. Guys, I appreciate it. I got to get out of here. I'm exhausted. I'm sick. I hope I'll be back tomorrow. I anticipate we will try to perhaps do a matinee show tomorrow. I don't know that for sure. Depends on if we can get a show together in time. If not, we'll go after Candace, hour or so after she ends. But we'll try to get one together for Wednesday. It's always a nice little Wednesday treat, and it will allow me to try to get some good sleep tomorrow if I'm not feeling better. Yeah, pray for me. Pray for me. I don't feel great, if I'm being honest. I don't feel ideal. I don't feel terrible. I feel pretty terrible. I tried to play it off like I didn't, but I do. But I do know this. This was a big day. There's a lot of new information thrown at you. It's going to take a while to digest all this. So you'll see people misrepresent this and that, and they'll try to dismiss, oh, he said this, he said that. Just look at them right in the eye and say this. Jesus loves you. Don't fight with them. Just say, hey, Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you. We're just looking for information. If you don't like it, that's fine. Have your own opinion. But, everybody's here for a good motive, trying to figure out who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why. And if you think you've already found the answer, then check back in when the trial starts. If you don't think we've had the answer, then you should keep looking. If you're only 75 to 85% sure, you should be looking, Smoke Boy. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Have a wonderful night, everybody. I hope to see you tomorrow one way or the other, unless I wake up just feeling awful. And if I do, I'll put up a YouTube post and an X post, and I'll let you know that I'm not going to do a show. But I'll try to be here. I'll try to be here. Have a wonderful night, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.